Hi, and welcome to Thursday with a Friend. My name is Lawrence, Larry, Punk, whatever you want to call me. And today I have a special guest, Ed, the owner and operator and promoter of JoeFest. Ed, thank you so much for joining me, and I apologize, or YouTube or StreamYard should apologize. They're the ones having the issues. How
Yeah.
are you today?
Good. How are you? Good.
I am doing excellent. I know there's a lot of people that have been waiting for this. As I'm ready for JoeFest to happen tomorrow.
Me too.
Just to get, I can only imagine. But as most of you know that follow the channel, and if you're new to the channel or tuning in to hear this, this is to learn about Ed, not just JoeFest. So we'll be talking about his whole life, but we're definitely going to get into JoeFest. He's been gracious enough to give me a couple hours of his time. Unfortunately, StreamYard, I think, tried to eat into like 15 minutes of that. We were here and we were trying to go live. I've switched browsers and everything. So, anyway, so how is everything going with you? How's this week been? And is it getting stressful getting to JoeFest?
No, done this now, what, 6 years? It's not stressful anymore. It's more like you just can't wait for it. Takes a lot of planning. It's taking more planning now than it ever has. You start earlier and earlier each year. But no, I don't get nervous anymore. I used to, but I think we know what to expect now, and it's just it just gets bigger and bigger each year. So,
Well, that's good. I mean, this is gonna be my first one. I'm definitely excited for it. I went to PowerCon for a day, but that's within a drive for me. And it was the week after I drove back from Florida with my kids. So I was like, hell, 4 hour drive. I mean, you always have to double it when it's going from Michigan to Ohio, just because it takes that much longer in our heads
yeah.
as Michiganders. Uh, so, but quickly, let's say hi to the chat. There's a bunch of people here. I know a lot of people waiting. We have GI Bro, who I have to say, you made a comment on my gridiron video today, which made me laugh about every time that you see one of your gridiron toys now with the rubber band, you say rubber band technology, and then go right to the damn it, Larry. That actually made me laugh out loud. We have a Patrick Strockel here. We have a Son of a Crayon Slayer. We have Toy Connections, who is part of Delta 17, who I know will be there. Mr. Wonderful, Tony's Figs, who I will be rooming with and doing a panel with at JoeFest. We have a GI Dro. That's a new one too. So we got a few new ones here. One of the moderators, Action Figs, Krusty Old Crow, who's making the trip all the way from Canada along with Ken. Well, not with Ken, but along with Ken across that border. My Buddy's Customs, Zazel from all the way from across the pond. I know he was there last year. Carol is here, not her brother. I don't see. My other moderator, Matthew Matson. And I know more people are going to stroll in. I think people are probably waiting for this to start at 9, but to get a little bit more time, Ed had to, I asked Ed if we moved it up, if we get a little bit more time, and he said great. So let's just start. Do you mind me asking about how old you are? Like you and
50.
50 years old.
Everything's falling apart now. 50.
Oh, great. Only about a year and a half, and then I get to start falling apart.
Yeah.
I can't wait. So, when you were growing, sorry, I'm a little. My dog here has decided that he wants to be. Say hi to everyone. Let's get it out of the way. Come on, buddy. There you go. Say hi.
Oh.
Say hi to the camera. Come on, Roman. Say hi. I know. All right. But you have 2 other children here that you can go play with, all right? Do you need to go outside? Live. He just went outside, but you guys, everyone watching already knows this. He'll go outside for like 2 minutes, come right back in, and come up here. He's become the mascot. Um, all right, we got that out of the way. Go, Blake, go outside. I apologize.
Ah, you're good.
um,
My chihuahua will be up here real soon, I'm sure. So,
he's Tony, who I'll be rooming with, actually did a custom version of it.
oh, nice.
Yeah, I had an extra junkyard because of Amazon just sent it, and Pitbull's heads look so much like Rottweilers. I sent it out to him in Arizona, all the way from Michigan, and I was super excited when I got it back. So, all right. So growing up, 50, you're in the same age bracket. Did you have any brothers and sisters? Like, how was your family life?
I got a sister, not a brother, but he didn't make it past, I would say, a couple weeks old. So yeah,
Oh,
never met him. But yeah, I got a sister, and she was more, I would say, Barbie and stuff, but like that. But
so
yeah,
no built-in play friend at your house.
no. See, I grew up in New York, so
Oh, all right.
we lived in a building at one point. A lot of kids in the building, and that's where your playtime came from. Um, just different than what society is now. Parents would play cards every Friday night, and kids would all gather in another room. We'd all play, and it wasn't video games; it was toys. So um, and you would always meet throughout the week, and then as you got older, it went from toys to Dungeons and Dragons, and it went to playground things and stuff like that. But you know,
So
came back
Ken
to the
wants.
toys. Came back to toys about 10 years ago.
Oh,
I want
wow.
to say maybe
So
15 years ago. Yeah,
so Ken is asking if you're a Rangers fan then.
absolutely not.
Islanders
But
fan?
let's go Carolina. Yeah,
Wow. Because
yeah.
of Hartford? Or-
No, I took my daughter to her first hockey game up in Carolina. It's about, I don't want to say, 3.5 hours from here, and she fell in love with it, and that's her team. So
Oh, wow.
my my dad grew up he's a Ranger fan, so I always picked the opposite team. I went Islanders.
That is anytime, like, you don't hear in Detroit. We got a lot of, I'm right on the border. So there's a lot of people in the Windsor. They're split between the Red Wings and the Maple Leafs. But in Detroit, you never hear someone that is a Maple Leaf fan. They're
No,
a Red Wing fan, no Maple Leaf fan. Again, through the 90s and in the early 2000s, they were so dominant anyway that there was no reason to be a fan of another team, unlike if you're a Lions fan.
well,
Which
I'm a
the
Jet
funny.
fan, so you know.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hey, you get like six primetime games within the first 11 games this year.
Yeah, just so we can embarrass ourselves even more.
Sorry. Not. I'm gonna leave my personal views at the door.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure Death will be here before I ever see them win. So,
Hey, people said the same thing about the Lions. I mean, they were the worst franchise for quite some time, and it looks like they finally got it together. So I'm glad for all those fans.
yeah, me too.
I'm a
Yep,
football fan. I'm not a Lions fan. I hope they win because that's what I listen to living here.
yep.
I'm sure you know how that is. All right, so you're growing up in as a kid in, I can only imagine, apartment building. I mean, that there must have been so many kids because I grew up in condos, and so there's
Yep.
condos, there's apartments, then there was houses. So I mean, we just went outside, and your parents didn't know where you were till 9, 10 o'clock at night. They never worried because eventually you were rolling through the house to grab some food or something.
Yep.
Um, it seems like an apartment building would even be better
Well,
than that because
and we're in the middle of Brooklyn, pretty much. So, You know, it's like you come home at night. I mean, it's just different times. I mean, we'd walk to school. We'd come home, you know, for dinner, and then we'd go back out until it was dark out. We'd play wiffle ball, and you know, it was just different times. I mean, you weren't scared to be out there, and your parents weren't scared that you were by yourself at 8 years old. So, um, just different times, man. Just different, you know.
Yeah, no, I mean, I didn't grow up a sports fan. I grew up a skateboarder. So, as a skateboarder at that day, at that time, growing up, I didn't think anything about it. Like, I rode skateboards and that was it. And then I got older and learned about sports, and you're like, wow, I could have been watching sports when I wasn't riding a skateboard. Uh,
I used to
but
like to play sports, but we'd go to sports, but it was only to watch it to see if I could get better to play sports. You know.
yeah, I mean, sports are so different than a lot of other things. Like my son watches video games, which I don't understand. That just seems so boring, but I guess he watches some of the stuff that I do, and he's like, people watch
Yep.
that? Damn right they do. 3.5 hours on a Monday, they watch me just ramble on. So as you're getting into like 4 or 5, do you remember like the first toys that you actually kind of gravitated to as a kid? Was there anything that just popped out for you?
Well, it was never Transformers, because we couldn't afford them. I can tell you that. I remember I got a Transformer when I was a kid. Got the Optimus Prime, and that was the only one I ever got. But it was, you know, we're living in the middle of the inner city. I mean, we didn't have the means to buy toys. I think that that's where the GI Joes came in because they were really affordable. You think about it, uh, for a figure, you know, and they had all the accessories, and I don't know. You could spend hours alone playing with the GI Joe, but Transformer, yeah, you could do that too. I guess the way I grew up, I had to value stuff what I had, and I'd be afraid of breaking the Transformer. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah, I it's in most of the people that I've talked to, very few were big into Transformers. And I think like I can remember how much a G.I. Joe figure was, and I can remember how much Star Wars was. I don't remember the vehicles, but when you see the price tag from those old flyers from Sears and Toys R Us, you're like, wow, like that vehicle was like $8. And
Mhm.
even back then, I mean, that wasn't crazy money when you think about it for a vehicle. But I think Transformers were always in the $10 to $20 range, and it starts to add up. Even that's why I remember having I didn't have a Cliff Jumper and like Bumblebee, Brawn. They were all like really small, and I think they were like around the $4 mark. Um, but they were really boring, and I think that's why so many
Yeah,
people have GoBots.
yeah. I actually like the GoBots better.
I can't say I like them better, but I
Hmm.
enjoyed the GoBots.
Yeah, they were
They
Joe
had some,
sized a little bit. They're a little bit undersized, but
yeah.
they were still more Joe sized. So,
That was the thing. Like Transformers, you always wanted them to fit with Joe, but Prime obviously was not big enough to fit with Joe.
mm-hmm.
Where you're just kind of looking at it like, oh man, if he was just a little bit bigger. Like I really wish that's where they would have went with the actual crossover that they're doing right now. Like,
Hmm.
just give me an actual Optimus Prime with an actual Joe. Don't
Yeah,
make him a tank or whatever. Just make an Optimus Prime. Like I'd be perfectly happy with, a Peterbilt, semi truck. And I think everyone else would be too. So,
yeah.
uh, did you play with like with the Adventure People or anything like that? Do you
Oh
remember
yeah. I
those?
mean, anything I could find. See, I never played. I never played with GI Joe to resemble the cartoon or the comic.
Okay.
It was my own universe.
Yep.
So if I found another toy, guess what? It was in my Joe universe. You know. Um, it just, yeah. I may remember you had those adventure times. There was a little orange plane. It had a little spindle in the
Yes.
front.
My friend
That
had
was that was Airborne's plane to me.
that.
So
But that's your imagination back then. Like today, I can't imagine having airborne in a prop propeller plane. You'd be like, that doesn't work. But back then, because I remember I had the boat um, with the little wheel, and it actually floated for a little bit. And then I was looking up to see how much it cost. Um, and then I had completely forgot about the little submarine that came with it, or the little where they laid down on a little yellow submarine. And I was like, oh my god, I totally forgot about that because it always looked like it had like big. It had the big tubes on the side that made it look like they were lasers, and I made it so I could fly if I wanted it to. And that was so much fun. And I even remember the Adventure People. They didn't really move too much, just like a Star Wars figure. But that boat, I'm like, I need to get that boat again because there's a couple of O-ring Joes that I have that look like they're fishing. I'm like, I need a fishing
Nope.
boat.
Yep. Yeah, I always incorporated everything. It really didn't matter what it was, If I had a transformer and a GoBot, well, guess what? Then the Joes were on the moon fighting the robot, or so. The
Yeah.
imagination was what I really valued from all of it. You know.
Now, did you have an issue like if you had a He-Man figure mixing it with your Joes because the scale was way off?
Then he would probably be a big bad monster, and that's who the Joes would be fighting.
Okay.
You
So
see what I'm saying?
you had no problem. See, I've
Mm-mm.
talked to a few people that, and I'm the same way. Like if they were different scale, there was no way that I could intermix them. Uh, but I had friends that were basically into He-Man, so we'd go over to his house, and he had all the He-Man stuff, and I had all the GI Joe stuff. I had the aircraft carrier, so people were going to come over that. Everyone wanted to play with that, and they realized you can't really move it anywhere. It's just
Mhm.
there.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
But yeah, like, and then you have friends that had the Transformers or have like my a buddy of mine had all the Rambo stuff.
Oh, I never had that. Trying to think of what those bad guys were, like the snake guy. But they
For what?
like Sergeant. Was it Sergeant? Not Savage, but something. Oh man, they were made by like Galoob or whatever. They were little green and black army looking guys. What the heck was the name of those guys?
Matthew's gonna know. My mom, come on, Matthew, where is it? You got to know what the.
Oh yeah, it was like, oh man, one guy had a patch on his eye.
It's
But anyway, they were only like a certain POA.
Toy Connection sent a $7 super chat to buy Ed a beer because Lawrence doesn't drink. That is correct. So, but why? So why are you sending it to me though? um, no, I'm trying now, man. Come on.
I'm trying to
So,
think what they were.
so
They
Eddie's
had,
saying Sergeant Rock, maybe.
yes, that's it.
Okay.
Yep.
Did, did they have a snake? I mean, I remember they had
The bad guy was like a snake. Oh, it wasn't a snake, but it
oh,
was like
he had the
the
black suit.
the name was Snake something or something. I can't
Oh,
remember. Who's the
all
bad
right.
guy?
Okay. If anyone knows, Ed and my two moderators would definitely know. Yeah, I still have a couple broken Sergeant Rock figures. I would love to see them. Well, actually, McFarlane is doing a Sergeant Rock figure. So
Really?
that's yeah.
I
There's
haven't
only
seen it.
one. Yeah, there's only one that it popped up in the line. Probably won't have any guns. God knows I have enough. I have enough guns, but his is 7-inch scale. But so hopefully he goes down that road. I wish it'd be a 6-inch scale to match with the Joes. Yeah, I like the Sergeant Rock, even though they were 5 points of articulation, I think. But at least
Yep.
a lot of them were like already like holding the gun.
Yep.
Unlike Star Wars, where if you had the big gun, they topple forward if you tried aiming it straight. Uh,
I had Star Wars. I just could never get into Star Wars.
okay, so Ed says they were just called bad guys. They had void names like Snake. All right,
Yeah.
so they were
Remember
just
something like that. Yeah.
So anytime you say something like that, I'm thinking of Jason the Wheeled Warriors. I don't know if you remember that.
No.
They were vehicles, and the bad guys were all like uh everything was mod, like you could mod anything that you wanted, and the bad guys were all like part alive, and then you had the good guys, which you could mod up all their stuff. They had saws. uh, they were just awesome. Yeah, like Ken says, Jason and Real Warriors, amazing theme song. Those things were just so much fun. But yeah, we have so many good toys, mask and all that other type of stuff. But um, Jace is one that I wish someone would bring back and do something. It was really the first toy that I can remember that was meant to be modded and do different things with. So
Mhm.
uh, anyway, so you're growing up in an apartment. How long did you live in New York for?
Mhm. Yeah, good question. I lived there till I was, I want to say, the sixth grade.
Okay.
Um, Moved to Florida. Spent a year on the west coast of Florida. Moved back to New York. A year later, moved back to Florida to the East Coast. Moved between two towns there. I've never spent more than 5 years in one area until where I'm at now.
Is
Uh,
there was your dad in the military or?
uh, it was more. I honestly think that back then, it was more an affordability thing. We went to Florida. I remember the
Okay.
first year, and it was. I mean, you got to remember this was probably I don't know. I think mid. I don't know. I said mid. Yeah, mid to early '80s. And
Okay.
when you moved from New York to down there, I remember actually when I started school there, they were a full year behind where I was when I entered school there from New
Oh
York.
wow.
So basically, just sat through school that year, moved back to New York. And it was just it. I think it was more an affordability thing for my parents. Um,
Okay.
just and New York was the type of place that my dad's a blue collar worker. He would have to work several jobs
Yeah.
just to keep paying rent, or eventually we bought a house and we had to convert that into an upstairs downstairs an apartment, and to try to keep the house of it just New York is a hard place to live. If you want to work one job, it's expensive. So
Yeah, I don't know how people live in New York and California. And my daughter is leaving for San Diego today with her and her boyfriend. He
uh,
got he got a job there, and they're leaving today, driving out there. And it's like, all right, well, that much money here in Michigan is
hmm
not the same. Just so that like he might be
yep,
getting a raise, but just know like that's not the same amount of money here.
yep,
You know, on paper it is, but in
yeah,
real life it's not. Uh,
no.
so how long were you into like playing with toys? Did you get out pretty quick or?
I collected toys. See, the inside scoop is that I would spend the summers with my grandparents. Just my parents would just get me out of the house because when I moved to Florida, I was a northern kid in the deep south, and I
Okay,
didn't really fit in too well. Be honest with you. So
different lifestyle.
yeah, it just I had my friends in New York, and it was just different interest, and in Florida, it was back then Florida was really different than what it is now. It's more of like a city down there, in Florida now. But geez, no, it's just different times, different kids were different, everything, but they didn't really they didn't get together in Florida like they did New York. You'd every day after school you go hang out with your buds over somebody's house, or
Yeah.
in Florida it was more like you're just by yourself. So that's when the toys really picked up. My grandparents would buy it, and My mom would always take me to the store once a week and try to find Joe's and stuff like that. So I collected toys until really honestly till my mom passed. That was that was kind of like eye opening thing because she basically fueled the whole collection. She was a completionist more than I was. And if there was a new figure out, we had to go find it. And I remember those times well.
That's
Because back then there was no internet, right?
yep.
You had to go hunting for toys, and that was the best part to me. But when she passed, there was a big void there, and it
I,
was started.
I know that one for sure. My mom passed away when I was 13.
Yeah,
So
mine. I was a little bit older. I probably stopped maybe around 18 collecting, and she passed when I was like 21.
okay.
But she every Christmas, even past 18, she would still put Joe's under the tree.
Oh,
And
that's awesome.
yeah, so after she left, it was like just didn't have the heart.
But that's
Just didn't have
awesome that she, like you said, she was a completist. I often say like collectors shouldn't have kids.
yeah,
And I say that because my stepdaughter, the one that's moving to California, when before her mom and I had kids, there was these uh Care Bears. They re-released the Care Bears, and there was like 9 of them. They were all Walgreens exclusives, and I had 8 of them. And she had 8 of them, and I searched for the ninth one. And my ex, she'd be like, she doesn't care. I'm like, that's not the point. The
yeah.
point is, there's 9 of them. She has 8. We only need one. All right. But she doesn't care. But I care. All right. There's one missing. I never found it. I never. But
I
that
was
was
just gonna ask
before.
you. Yeah,
Yeah. No, that was before eBay and where I would have known how to find it. But for me, I go through the point. I go through. I still enjoy the hunt, although after a while you get tired of walking through every Target. But I
yeah,
enjoy finding something at Target rather than getting it from BBTS or
yeah,
when my local comic shop gets it, Sergeant Red's gets it, or
yep,
um, one of my other stores, and I see them post it. Like that's cool. It's kind of the same thing. You're still hunting it,
yep.
you shoot over there and you grab it, and but yeah, I've often said collectors should not have kids because they'll be searching for something, and the kid will be like, I don't really care. And it's like, no, you need to have it. You need to have this.
I've passed that on to my daughters. My especially my oldest, she's very much into collecting figures. More of like medieval or like the mythic legions and stuff like
Legions.
that. Anime, anything from that type of culture, that you could gargoyles, all that stuff. She
Oh
she
man,
collects it.
you're hitting all the. I don't have any gargoyles around me.
Yeah, yeah, she
Yeah, I collect all the gargoyles. I'm not big. I collect some Mythic Legion. They got a bunch around me. Um, they're so nice, but it's great to see that. Like my daughter collects Stitch, Lilo and Stitch. So the amount of Funko Pops, she likes Funko Pops, but she really likes Lilo and Stitch. So when we get to go to Target and she finds something small that's Lilo and Stitch, um, that's $5 or $10, whatever. It's just cool to see her be like, "Hey, can I get this?" No, we're not getting that. Why not?
yeah, yeah, I don't have it.
Basically, because I didn't find anything and I don't want to wait in line. That's
Yeah, yeah,
basically what it comes in.
yeah, yeah,
But it
yeah,
is awesome to see them, do something that you enjoyed before.
yeah. Yeah,
Um,
they never got into Joe's, but they get into comics and my kids and artwork, and my youngest is really into anime and stuff like that. So um
yeah, the anime. I'm so glad I never got into anime.
I can't get into. I've tried. There's nothing there. I don't want to relearn something. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, like if I can, like when everyone I watched, what is it? Netflix just did a live action version of an anime show that everyone loved, um, and I loved it too. And to me, it was awesome
Mhm.
because what's great about it is I don't know anything about it. Everyone said it's awesome. It's so good. Um, they're super happy with it, and I'm just like I just enjoyed it. Uh, Come on, Matthew. I know you guys watched it. So what is it? It's gonna drive me nuts. But it's on Netflix. It's like a pirate. It's like kind of like a pirate show. Um, but everyone said they loved it. All the people that actually watched the animation or the animated stuff. I'm like, that's awesome. I just enjoyed watching the live action, and I thought it was really cool and had a lot of fun watching it. And that's all that really matters to me. One Piece. Thank you, Matthew. Yeah, One Piece. It's really good. And
Hmm.
I guess all the people in animation, they thought it was great. And I'm like, well, that makes it better. But to me, I just like that. I thought that it was good. So, all right. So as you got older, you said you continued to collect toys, but as you get into that age of girls,
Yeah, I was
sport,
just gonna say 17, 18.
yep,
The toys stopped.
the
That was
toy
right
stuff.
around the neon time, right? The
Man, I was done by then. So I think the neon was in the 90s.
Yeah, early
So,
90s, right?
oh yeah,
90, like the
you're
94.
a couple years older.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still had like I picked up the Iron Grenadiers. I don't remember anything with neon. Like I remember it, but I know I didn't pick anything up. But I know I got back into everything. Spawn, Power of the Force, which something we're all doing right now. Videos for Power of the Force while reviewing Power of the Force figures. Just having a good time. Having fun doing these reviews because hey, those things were a lot of fun.
Mhm.
Power of the Force, say what you want. They were muscular, which I was into lifting, so we all found it kind of funny. Um, but so, what did you do after that? Once you got kind of not
Uh,
out of toys, it sounds like you were still collecting because your mom, which is
I
cool.
was to a point, and then it stopped. But as we talked prior to getting on here, my number one hobby has always been collecting autographs of baseball players. I grew up in, towards the end down there in South Florida, which is spring training capital of the world. Especially back then, there was
Yep.
more teams down there, and I remember skipping college to go watch a Dodger game, play the Mets, and that's when I started seeing the players that I would watch on TV occasionally, and it was like, wow, I can get this close. It was a different world back then too. You could walk up to a player and tap them on the shoulder and ask for an autograph or something, and it's completely different now. I mean, it's fences up, there's security, and all that stuff. But that's how I grew up, and so that kind of replaced the collecting of the toys there for a bit. Um,
So
because
not comic books.
um, I had comic books until about the time I stopped collecting toys.
Okay.
I've got 30 long boxes downstairs. My oldest won't let me sell them. She wants them, and there's some golden ones down there. There's some good stuff, but yeah, I mean, I read comics until then. And then you're in school, and I was working full time, and um, plus collecting the autographs, and there was no time for anything else. It just, especially when you got to fuel your own economy with what you're making. You
So
either
I
go ahead.
definitely want to ask about the autographs because the reason why I asked about the comics is a lot of people that I talked to at the show, they a lot of them seem to transition from toys to comics because you could get away in high school collecting comics because it was
Hmm.
actually reading. You could also kind of put it aside. You can't really hide if you have a bunch of GI Joes, Star
Yep.
Wars, Transformers, Turtles. I mean, that's really kiddish. It seems.
Yeah.
Sit around your house and you're trying to get laid. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. I mean, there was
Nowadays,
priorities back then,
yeah,
so
nowadays it's not that big of a deal, right? Like people
no.
are collecting because you see all these athletes and actors, they're collecting, so no one really looks down upon it like they used to. But you got into autographs, and now you said baseball mostly, or is
Mostly
it?
baseball because it was spring training there. I mean, my house that I lived there was 30 minutes from the Mets and 15 minutes from the Los Angeles Dodgers spring training.
Yeah,
So,
I'm sorry, GI Bro says trying to get laid.
yeah,
I guess
yeah.
okay. Well,
Well,
I should have
a lot
rephrased
of energy went that way. Yeah, yeah, yeah. A lot of, lot of, lot of dollars here and there trying to. Yeah. There was no money for toys, that's for sure. So,
that. Mine all went to skateboarding. I'm not gonna lie. Um,
yeah,
but well, mostly because of the spring training down in Florida, because you're down there, and yeah, they're like that was the central hub, because I know
yep,
that's where the Tigers go down for to
yep. I
Lakeland.
went there.
So
Yep.
so where were you at in Florida?
It was a small little town called Fort Pierce.
Okay,
Um, it's about 20 minutes north of Port St. Lucie, which is bigger now.
okay,
And about an hour north of Palm Beach.
all right.
So,
No, that's cool. I like I've never been an autograph seeker. Um,
see
but
what
it's
it was. It wasn't necessarily like I needed the autograph. It was more something to do, and it got you outside.
yeah,
A lot like what you when I grew up being a kid collecting toys, everybody would gather and play with the toys. This is essentially the same thing because we had a little network of friends that we would go to the games together. We'd all hang out. It was a way of getting out. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. No, no. So I'm just saying
Yeah, yeah.
I've never been an autograph seeker. But again, I love the fact it's the collecting aspect of what you were doing, and
No.
we were talking a little bit earlier about a specific autograph, not issue, but an autograph story that you had. I don't know if you can hear that. It's my son probably getting mad over a video game.
No. I know the pain. That's why I don't do them no more. It's too stressful.
Yeah, I don't ever want to get back into that. People are like, you gonna
No,
play this? I'm like, nope, I don't. Nope, I don't need
I
that.
don't
I
see
don't.
how they do it. I mean, it's like my daughter. She'll cook, 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 and it's like I do it, and the guy walks into a wall. So I don't give me Pong. I like Pong. Pong was great.
During the pandemic, I had ordered for his PlayStation 3, I think,
Uh-huh.
uh, the Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2,
Mhm.
and I still remembered how to play it. He was amazed that I could play it because he never realized I could, and he couldn't get into it. He's like, it's just a button smasher. I can't stand the button smashers because I can't stand that.
Mhm.
And I'm like, what was a button? Oh, I get it. The button smashers. I never thought of it like that. I always hated Street Fighter because of that, and all my friends played Street Fighter that way. They
Mhm.
love Street Fighter, and I ended up at the arcade with them, and I'm like, can we just leave and go skate? And then you finally get your car, and it's like, all right, we're there at the arcade. I'm going to go ride my skateboard, and we'll meet up later on when we're all done.
Yep.
um, but yeah, I don't. Yeah, he flips out about that. I think they all do for the most part. Um, no. So, what is baseball your favorite sport then?
Yeah, because when I was growing up in New York, my dad would take me to either Yankee Stadium or Shea Stadium, and I remember those times with my dad a lot. So that's where baseball came in, and baseball is every day uh, for most of the year. I mean, really, think about it. It goes on and on and on, and to me,
Is it
it's like a
long?
soap opera. You know,
Yeah.
so
So then, what's your team?
oh, it's the Yankees, of
The
course.
Yankees. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. A little bit of Marlins because I was there their first year down there, and I've always rooted for them. But It's getting to be tougher and tougher, man. That's,
And then they'll come out and win the World Series out of nowhere, and they go back to being crap again.
yeah. I remember those years. I went to those World Series. It was great times down there, you know.
Absolutely crazy, like how they won the World Series, dismantled the team,
Yep.
and then won it 4 years later, I
Yeah,
think.
something like that. 3, 4 year.
And they
Yeah. I
just
mean, it was.
dismantled it again and
Yeah,
traded Mickey to Detroit, and that was it. Like
that was
done.
it. Yep.
Um, so are there other like other autographs that you seek, or is it just
See, I
sports?
always. It's the crazy part is I've never been into like fame and all that stuff.
Mhm.
Um, I always admired the players because they have a talent, and
Yeah.
I guess acting and all that does. They have talents too. I get that. Um, but I never grew up admiring it. You know. Um, just I remember one year. What's his name? Played Batman. Um, not
Michael
Burt
Keaton.
Ward. No, no, the older
Oh,
one. What's his name? It's escaping me.
come on, guys.
Yeah, Burt
Um,
Ward was Robin. Who the heck was the other guy?
as soon as someone posts it, it's gonna come to my mind.
Uh,
Um, wow, I was like, no one, like, you guys all sleeping or what? Um,
yeah, come on, Batman.
God, Burt Ward,
Da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
and yeah, everyone knows exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah,
People are gonna watch this on the replay, going, "Oh, Adam West, thank you,
Adam
G,
West. Yeah,
thank you, GI Bro."
they they had him at the local mall in Florida. There, he was signing autographs, and it was free. I never went. Just I didn't. I don't care. You know what I mean? It just wasn't my thing. And now it's like you look back at it, going, "Golly, I wish I would have went." You know, it's Batman. So, um,
So your big thing was just getting with your buddies and then trying to get autographs from. Is it was it all athletes or just basically
just
baseball?
baseball. Yeah, occasionally, during the winter they would have like camps and whatnot, and they would actually, where you pay to go play as a
Yeah,
player.
yep,
You
yep.
know, I met John Ritter there one year, so I got his autograph. I met Joe Walsh, the Eagles. So yeah, I met a few celebrities, but it just never did anything for me. You know.
No, I've never been. I've never. I never cared about meeting anyone. Uh, I don't know if this is the reason, but I know when my mom passed away when I was 13. Um, and again, that means nothing to anyone else but me. But I remember when Princess Diana died, and everyone made this big hoopla, and I was still young at the time, and I just remember being bitter, like no one cared when my mom died. She's no
Yep.
different, And I think
Yep.
I've always looked at it, and it's like they're no better than me, and I'm no better than them.
That's how I always
We're
felt.
just
Yeah.
yeah, we're just equal people. They have a talent, that people are willing to pay, and I have a talent that people aren't willing to pay the same prices.
Yep.
Uh, and that's fine because I'm the one that's willing to pay to go see the Avengers movies or go see a hockey game or a football game and different things like that.
Yep.
I don't want to see a bunch of 5'4" guys like myself playing basketball or
Yeah.
trying to
Yep.
throw a football.
I think as far as baseball, we used to play wiffle ball after school every year, every day in New York, and then it'd be the toys at night when it got dark. And I remember I tried out for the little league team, didn't make it, but I was damn good at wiffle ball. I can tell you that. And I admired the players because I wanted to be a baseball player. And I think it's still to that point that I still admire the talent because of that.
Isn't there a guy that built a wiffle ball stadium in the form of what's
It's big
Boston?
now.
What's
It's
Boston's stadium?
Fenway. Yeah.
Fenway Park. He made a wiffle ball stadium with the big green wall, the green wall, whatever it's called.
Hmm.
Uh, he made it the wiffle ball stadium look just like it,
Yep.
which is crazy because a wiffle ball
I loved wiffle
it doesn't
ball.
go straight.
Yeah, I loved it. I love wiffle ball, but it's the same thing. I think I've always done stuff because I really just wanted to hang out with people more so than actually the stuff that we were doing. I like the
Okay.
socialization. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because it gives you a reason to go out and do stuff. It gives you a
Yep.
reason to meet up with people, um, and I think that's really good. I think that's what a lot of people are like. Kids are missing today.
Yes.
So many of them are introverts, but they
Yep.
get on the computer and they have a boatload of friends. And I don't know if I'm much different because I sit behind here and I do
Yep.
all these live streams, and you know, I have
And
all
you're
these
meeting
people.
people.
Yes.
You're my generation. You want to learn about people in a
Yep.
way. You want to learn what makes them go. It's just different now. I mean, on the computer, it's like I was really heavily into Facebook. I really was, and now it's like I regret that time of my life because I wasted so many hours. And now it's like I still have my friends from there, and they're diehard friends. But there's just so much anger nowadays online and,
Oh,
and people say it, and it's like I don't know if they're trying to hurt you or not, but they don't care. They just because you'll never meet them now. And
yeah. As Matthew says, a person's socialization is way different than in person. I'd rather be in person, but live streams are close. Yeah, it is
yes.
weird getting to have so many. I mean, I have friends through this
Hmm.
that they're good friends, and I've never met them in person. Though I met some at PowerCon um, over uh, in November. I was in Jersey, so I went down to visit another friend, a lifelong friend that I have, and I met up with another guy, Oz, who will be at JoeFest. And so you do get to meet some people, and that's one of the biggest things about JoeFest is getting to meet all these people that I've got to know, and some have become really, really good friends. And I've said before, like if someone said, "Hey, we're meeting at a mall in Montana for 3 days with all these people that we've made friends with," they're gonna be there. I'd be like, "Let's go."
Yep.
Because it's really the memories. I'm not looking to buy anything when I get to Joe Fest. There's nothing that I'm like, I need to get a Defiant. I'm not looking for any holy grails. I'm going there to just meet friends and, you know, actually get to know them in person. So you can say, hey, these aren't just online friends. I met
Yep.
them in real life.
Yep. Yep. Well,
um,
when we get to that story there, I'll tell you. But that's the whole reason why Joe Fest is.
yeah,
Um, we'll
yeah,
get to that, but
I definitely. So do you mind me asking, like, as you graduate, did you go to school or did you go right into the workforce or?
I did both. I graduated high school when I was in the 11th grade. I was dual enrollment for the 12th grade. I graduated my first year of college the first year, so I had 2 years of community college in. Meanwhile, working full time, I worked for Kmart of all places. Uh,
They
I
just tore down.
started,
They just tore down the old headquarters here.
yeah, I just started. I started working at in the front stocking and stuff like that. By the end of my first year of college, I was second in charge of the store. I was operations manager.
Okay.
Um, decided to. I got offered a full ride scholarship for engineering to Syracuse.
All right. So back to New York.
Did not go.
So not
Sta
back to New York.
stayed with my girlfriend. Didn't want to leave my girlfriend.
Oof. Okay. So is your
Yeah.
girlfriend the mother of your kids?
No, 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 no.
Quick, quickly, heavy metal toolbox and the $2 super chat. This community is built from the best peeps online.
Yep,
It is, and then there are some of the worst people online too, but we try and
yep,
weed them out because who wants shitty people in your life, right?
yep. We don't need negativity. Life's too short for negativity.
I am with you 100%.
Yep.
Uh, sometimes being honest is considered being negative, but sometimes it's just like I'm just being honest with you. Uh,
Yep.
Negative would be continue to go on and on and on, and when people say, "Wow, you're brutally honest," I'm just like, if you knew half the shit I really thought in my mind.
Yeah, me too. If you can't accept my honesty, I mean, I'm known for that too. I'll just tell you what I think, and I've got great friends because of that. But if you don't accept what I'm saying, I'm not saying it to hurt you. I'm actually telling you to help you. You know.
Yeah, there is a way about going where you can. I don't have to say everything that I'm thinking to be
Yep.
mean. I think women do it more than guys mostly. Uh, my ex would say some things, and it's like that came from somewhere. All right, that
Yeah.
came from somewhere. So somewhere in your mind that you thought that. So
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
no doubt about that. Um, but so you get a ride to Syracuse. You don't
Yeah.
go.
Don't go.
Back to what we we're
Decided.
talking about, getting laid. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. Decided there, and decided to stay where I was, do another 2 years, get a business management degree. While working full time, I was second in charge of the store. I was making really good money plus that. So, was heading to work one day, looked over to the right of me, and here's my girlfriend in the car with another guy. So,
oh,
yeah, and we both worked together at the Kmart. So, yeah, that didn't go too well. So, uh, that split up. Finished college. Got offered a store manager position in Orlando. I was about deciding to take it. Was working overnights at that point, doing inventory, and stopped at the local food store, and that's where I met my wife. She was the checkout cashier. So
okay. So you
things
you learned your
things worked
lesson
out.
not to learn your lesson not to date anyone you work with ever again.
Well, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
did that once too, and it was very awkward
It was
when it didn't
awkward.
work
Yeah,
out.
yeah. So yeah, so that then I got offered a government job, and I was almost taking the store manager job, and I decided to go into government because I felt like it's a little bit more secure. And here it is. I'm 4 years from retirement. So
Well, you would have been retired a long time ago if you still worked at Kmart.
yeah, well, this job you got to do 30 years. Back then, I could have done 20. I would have been retired, but
Kmart's
yeah,
long gone. It's weird, like seeing the headquarters completely demolished. I mean,
yeah.
it was. I mean, it again. I
I had
I
great
worked right
times.
by it. I worked
I had
right by
great
it.
times.
For that.
I still got great friends from there. Talk to them often. They were a great group of people. It was every Friday night we'd all meet bowling, or we'd go to Palm Beach dancing and clubbing. It's still a tight knit group of people, and just different times back then too, But it was uh, it was a camaraderie about it. I miss those times a lot.
I gotta address this. So GI Bro says I hired I think he meant wife at Taco Bell in 1990, still married. I'm assuming that if you married I'm sorry, if you dated a girl while you were working at Taco Bell, you got way past the flatulence part pretty quickly. So there was none of that like she was never gonna be surprised when you blew up the bathroom.
No,
Especially if you were
and
her manager.
and who was giving the orders there, huh?
um,
It's good stuff.
uh, so uh, you work for the government
Yep,
now. When did you get back into toy collecting? Because JoeFest has only been going on for what, 6 years?
6 years.
Okay,
Yeah.
and
Um,
how
This is gonna be a good story for you. Moved out of Florida, came up here. I'm in South Carolina, and
So you're not in Georgia.
no, Augusta is a mile from the South Carolina border.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, it's the Savannah River splits the states.
Okay. All right.
So
I know you're not by Atlanta.
no. I keep thinking about bringing it that way, but you haven't been here yet. You said when you see the
Nope.
place that I'm in, and you see, I want to say, I don't want to over, but there's a magic about this, okay? Because it's a convention center with an old Southern style plantation hotel,
Okay.
and it's all connected under one roof. And all weekend, you don't have to leave the place. And and that's the beauty of Augusta too, because there ain't a whole hell of a lot else going on anyway. Y- You're here for the toys, you're here for your friends. It's a one weekend that you don't have to be tempted to say, let's go, oh, in Atlanta, let's go here, go there, blah, blah, blah. It works.
Now, I have not been out to Iowa for what codename Iowa is it? I
Yeah,
think
I haven't either.
but
I want
it
to.
almost sounds like it's very similar where
Yep.
you're at the hotel, everything is for the whole weekend is all under one roof or within walking distance and
We have
Iowa.
on one side a hotel, on the other side of the drive there, it's a tall building. It's got a an art museum. It's like a 2, 3 story art museum on the top floors. It's free
Okay.
on Sunday. And it's got a lot of Southern, Civil War, all different type of, paintings and whatnot. And it's free on Sundays. That's a great thing.
Oh,
On the
that's cool.
opposite, on behind the hotel is the river walk, and you can walk the length of the river and you can see South Carolina on the other side. Um, but along there, there's shops, there's restaurants. Um, right across the street, there's a place called Boll Weevil. It has sandwiches and homemade cakes, and the cakes are probably like the size of our head. The slice, it's how, and they're amazing. They have a chocolate chip banana cake. It's amazing. And next to it, they have a seafood place that brings in the seafood from Savannah daily, and
Yeah.
it's always packed on JoeFest. You can't even get in there. It's like waiting. It's like an hour or something.
Uh, yeah, everyone here is basically saying, yeah. Kevin Riddle here says it's a great location for sure. I park and don't leave good eating spots next door.
Yep.
So,
And then we do toy swaps on Friday and Saturday, and
okay.
they start at like 7, 8 o'clock, and they go to midnight. And a lot of times they don't end at midnight, but that's all I'm allowed to do at the hotel. But people then move the stuff into the hallways, and literally 2, 3 in the morning. It's still going on.
Okay,
It's
we're gonna get into that in a second. 'Cause
yeah.
now you got me even more. I'm like more jazzed about going.
If you love toys, it's toys all weekend, and that's the magic to it.
And again, that's what's like. It's gonna be with a bunch of friends that I'm with
Yes.
that enjoy toys.
Yep.
That again, I'm not looking to buy anything. I'm not saying I'm not gonna buy anything,
Sure.
but I'm not coming down with five. I mean, I made a joke about when I have an extra $1,000, I'll get a Defiant, and
Yep.
then I was told by by someone here that said, "Yeah, I just sold my Defiant for 3,000." I was like, "All right, when I have an extra $3,000, then I'll buy a Defiant." That is my holy grail eventually. Not right now, that's for sure.
Yep.
um, so how did Joe Fest all come about? You have a couple kids, correct?
Yes.
Or all right, that it sounds like you have all. I just love what you're talking about, like the whole collecting and even though it sounds like they don't collect anything that you really care about, and I don't mean that in a bad way,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
absolutely love the fact that they have this
They
passion.
appreciate it. Yeah, they
Yeah.
do. They appreciate it. So,
Now, do they come with you,
oh
or
yeah,
they're
Joe Fuss is a is a family thing. we work hard on this. It's They run the ticket tables. My oldest is graphic design. She just graduated college. She
Oh,
helps
cool.
me with the advertising. My little one's into graphics also, and she's helping me. Um, they run the volunteers. They run the ticket tables. Um, my goal was really honestly to start this for my own reasons, but eventually, if they wanted to do something with it when I'm too old, this is something daddy can give them.
Yeah.
So
So, all right. So you have some kids. I feel like I'm skipping a bunch, but I definitely want to get into it because I know you only have so much time, and I think we're gonna be on Joe
yeah,
Fest.
we're good. We're good.
We're gonna be on. Um. So, well, let me. Then, how old are your kids? Do you mind me asking?
23, 21. They're a year and
Okay.
a half apart.
All right. So,
We were quick.
yeah. So,
We were
yeah, I was
quick.
gonna say because my stepdaughter is 27.
Yep.
Or my ex's daughter, she's 20. I raised her since she was 5, so she's
Hmm.
my daughter. Um, we didn't have like my son. We didn't have my son uh, till I was 30, and she was 32, and then our daughter came 3 years, 2.5 years later. So we were kind of late. I always say like kids are for young people because if you're 40
Yeah.
having kids, it's awesome. You feel it, but guess what? When you come home from work and your knees hurt, your kids don't care. They want to
Yeah.
jump
My
on
I met my wife. She's a little bit older than me. She had her first kid when she was like 38 and a half.
you. Okay.
And then we had the second one, and the second one was we wanted to have a second one for the other one to have somebody to play with,
Yeah.
and because we were in Florida and nobody talks to anybody. But yeah, then we had complications with the second one, and everything worked out good in the end. But the doctor said, that's it. You know,
Oh,
you're
okay.
you're 40. It's enough. So
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, I'm one of those people. You don't think about it until you start getting older, and then you're like, man, they don't care. Like they want to jump on you. And
yeah,
well, okay, so uh, Ken says, Lawrence, I'm 42. My knees don't hurt. You'll have to sharpshooter me. Like, that's because you don't actually work out or anything, Ken.
I got a physical job. I got enough working out, so I got the
I
little tummy, but everything else is in shape. So
I have spent many years riding a skateboard, lifting weights. I fix copy machines. Not that it's physical per se, like lifting, but
yeah,
I'm up and down. And I learned recently, when I say recently, in the past 10 years, handrails are not for skateboarding. They're actually used for going down steps, uh, especially in the morning.
yeah,
I never want to have it upstairs again. If I ever move, I want a ranch. Um,
yes,
I don't. I hate it. It is just the worst. And it's not getting better.
yeah. No, I'm 50, and I'm starting to think of it myself now, but
Yeah, it's
it'll
so.
be back to Florida at some point. But they have flat houses there, so
Yeah, but you said you're in South Carolina, and I mean,
yeah.
how cold does it get? Like, it doesn't
When
get
we
cold.
first moved here, climate change has really been a big thing
Yeah,
over the years. Whatever politics side you're on, I can
yeah,
just tell you it's not as cold as when I moved here 20 years ago. You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? It's just the winters aren't it's they don't bite like they used to,
But
you know?
you're from New York.
Yeah.
You're from New York, so when I hear my buddy Tony from Arizona, that's where he's always grown up, where he's always lived. When
Yeah.
he tells me it's freezing, I go, what? How cold is it? Like 50. I'm like, that is not freezing.
Yeah. It feels different though because
I
I lived in Florida a lot of my life. I really did. So then moving up here and getting cold again, it took several years to adjust.
Yeah,
So
but you know what freezing is. So you can walk
yeah.
out and be like, this is cold, but yeah, I've been in New York when it's whipping through those
Yes.
buildings. All
And
right.
it's wet. It's a wet cold and
Yeah.
you know, you yeah.
I like I said, I'm in and out of my car and the cold's never bothered me. I don't zip up my jacket, but as I get older, I'm just like, I'd rather it
It,
be 100 degrees than,
yes.
you
Yep.
know,
That's why I say Florida is in the future. Yep.
yeah, and you'll know this. You'll know this as good as anyone from northern. I will take 10 degrees, no wind and sun rather than 33 degrees, overcast and windy.
You wait till you get to Augusta in this time of year. It's like I said, I grew up a lot in Florida, and we have humidity. Wait till you see this place. It's a valley, South Carolina and Georgia, and it's got the river in the middle, and it's a sauna. It's just it bakes, and it's like the heat level here is unbelievable. But I don't start feeling really good until it reaches 90 plus
Yeah.
with high
So
humidity.
yeah,
So
so Tony here from he says 50 is cold.
yes, it
Tony,
is.
Arizona, dry heat. He's already whining and crying about how humid it's going to be. Oh, it's going to be humid. I can't take it. Like,
Oh, the
shut up.
humidity.
You're here like 4 days, then you're going to be gone. All right.
The air
Michigan is humid
conditioning
as
works
hell.
well here. So, and they do pump it in there. I mean, they pump it. It's freezing at times in that convention center. So,
The Titan. I left the cold 30 years ago. Below 60 is indecent.
true story. Yep. Yep.
Don't get me wrong. I understand when your body when your body changes, your blood thins.
Yep.
You're from Arizona, Texas. Yes, 50 feels cold, but just don't
Yep.
ever tell me that it's freezing when technically it's not even close to being freezing. And
Yep.
I'm taking out my garbage when it's 5 degrees and windy out without a shirt on because it needs to go out. And I'm like, all right, and you walk out and you're only going to be out for 20 seconds and you're back.
Yeah. Yeah. I had the same thing. I even growing up in New York, midwinters, I'd wear shorts. I never wore pants.
See,
I was always good.
as a skateboarder, I'm the opposite. I hate looking down and seeing my legs, so I
Yeah.
wear pants almost all year round.
Oh, see, I can't do it.
I started to wear shorts a little bit more, but I wear jeans all year round.
Really? Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, you're a
without
skater though too. So,
yes,
you know,
and I know like when your board hits your shin, it hurts whether you have pants
yes.
on or not. But that grip tape, if you have shorts, but I hate looking down and seeing shorts.
Really?
Yeah, when I'm skating, I hate it. I've gotten better with, like when we went to Florida, I didn't wear jeans nearly that much.
Yeah.
Last year when we went on vacation, I did wear shorts, but I don't like looking down and seeing skinny legs. Um, and even when I had big legs and big calves, they still were. But yeah, it's kind of crazy. All right, so let's get into how JoeFest started because
Well, it goes
before.
back to let's backtrack to Facebook though,
Okay.
because that's where it all began. I created that group with a bunch of other guys. GI Joe Rec Room. It just surpassed 10,000 people in there, but we're real picky on who we take in there. But that's how it started. Um, I went to a toy store in Columbia. So when I moved up here to South Carolina, okay, I was bored out of my mind. There's no baseball. Well, we have a minor league team here, but during the winter, what do you do? There's nothing to do, right? In Florida, you could go to Orlando or something. So, all right, so we go up to Columbia, and I still remember it was on my birthday, and we walk in the store, and there's a GI Joe Hammerhead, right? The big toy
Yeah.
that with the wheels and all that stuff. And that was after I stopped collecting. Time frame. So I remember looking at it. It was in a showcase. To my wife, I says, "You know how much of this stuff I have in the crawl space?" She goes, "That's what's in those buckets." I says, "Yeah, it's all my toys from when I was a kid. I can't let them go because my mom got them for me. You know." So I'm looking at the Hammerhead, and it was like $35. So I took a picture of it, and I just recently got into Facebook, and I'm like, I wonder if there's GI Joe collectors out there. And this, I know this sounds stupid, but this is the God honest truth. So I searched GI Joe, and it comes up groups. I'm like, oh, what's that? I'm not in any group. So I joined the largest GI Joe group, and I put the picture of the Hammerhead in there. I said, this is $35, guys. I'm new to collecting again. Is this worth $35? Because it looks really cool. And it was a discussion group. And I don't remember what the name of the group is, because I'll tell you the whole story here. But I got 119 comments. I'll still never forget that number underneath it. People telling me, I can't believe you don't even know what this is, blah, blah, blah. And then you had a couple nice people say, yes, it's definitely worth $35 and all that. You know?
Wait, rude people on Facebook?
Yeah, but this was back in the earlier
How did you
stages,
find that?
groups. Well, needless to say, there was the group owner at the time sent up a PM, which I didn't even have a PM, but it pops up. And I'm like, what's this? It says, just want to let you know, being as how you're new to the group and don't know what this stuff is, and your post doesn't spark conversation, we are banning you from the group.
Whoa.
Just got back into GI Joe for hours. All right, so he messaged several other guys and banned all them because they were taking up for me. This guy doesn't know what he's posting. He's really being legitimate here, and I didn't know them. He banned all them. Meanwhile,
Wow.
I had 119 comments in less than 30 minutes, right? So it's conversation, right?
I would say so. I mean,
Yeah,
if I
I
get
wasn't
that many
selling it.
on yeah, if I got that many on a video that I did, I'd be just blown away.
Yeah, and I was new to this stuff. I honestly didn't know what it was. So, needless to say, I bought it home, and I'm looking at it and all. And then I'm really bummed. It's my birthday, and I just got kicked out of the largest GI Joe group.
It's not funny.
So, but yeah, and it's like I hate this stuff. I hate it again, because I got all this stuff in the crawl space. So a couple of those guys got banned. They messaged me and said, "Hey, what do you think about starting our own group?" Yeah, I don't care. You want to? Let's do it. Well, needless to say, it's got 10,000 fans in there now, and we did a lot of stuff over the years. We did a lot of giveaways. We did stuff for kids. We did a lot of good stuff, but times have changed now. It's more YouTube and all that stuff, but still all friends with those guys. We still have some discussion in there and whatnot. But from there, I learned from being in that group is that there's something called JoeCon. Who knew that there's GI Joe collectors out there? I thought I was the only idiot in the world. And sitting on all these toys. What am I doing with them? All right. So I went to the one in Orlando. Went to the one in Orlando because that was close. That was 3 years before the final one, right? I had a good time. Met all the guys that we formed the group with. They all went down there. We had a good time. It became what it was when we discussed at the beginning of the show here, the camaraderie. It was a bunch of us guys getting together about toys. So now the spark is starting to ignite, right? So we get heavily into the Facebook group. We're doing discussions, doing posts. We're getting like 300-400 comments on each post. Everything's going great, right? Next year they announced Springfield, and that's all the way on the other side by Colorado. And I'm like, I can't go to that. I got a family and all. I'm not spending that money. Then all of a sudden, this next year's Chattanooga, which is like 5 hours from here. I'm like, guys, you want to go? Yeah, let's go. Go to having a good time and all that. And this is the God honest truth. At the end of that, they have this big panel in this big room, and I'm sitting in the last row. And they're announcing that this is the final show. That's it.
What
And
year
I'm
was this?
6.5 years ago, whatever it was.
Okay.
I'm terrible with time, so that was the last JoeCon. So I was sitting there with all my friends that seemingly just felt like we just got to know each other, right? Because it's only been like 3 years. And we lived and breathed this every day. And it's like, this convention all about G.I. Joe was really cool, you know? And they announced that it's done. And I still remember walking out of the room. It was like a somber experience, man. It was like, I guess this is goodbye. You know, everybody's talking to each other like, we had some good times. And I'm like, I just found this garbage 3 years ago. And now you're telling me it's over. You know, and I'm getting to the point in my life where I got a little bit of money where I can do this stuff, you know, and travel.
That's the biggest thing. I have my own money. I can
Yeah.
buy what I want.
Yeah. I could go hang out. I can get hotel rooms. I had a great time in Chattanooga. And got home. I remember driving home. And it was like, it was sad because I'm not going to see these guys no more. And then listening to everybody talking at the end of it was like, it was, they didn't know what's next. We've seen it. They did that show for 25 years, I've been told. And all these guys went every year. It didn't matter what was there, they went. And they were family. You know what I'm saying?
You're absolutely right about family, and that's how I feel about so many people I met here. But
Yes.
Three-Star Draw is asking, do you know the reason they disbanded?
Heard rumors, but there's several different rumors. I heard health possibility. I heard Hasbro not one. Because they were an official Hasbro type of thing.
Okay, all right, because that's what Machine Man asked. Was that the last time Hasbro participated?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and I heard rumors that they didn't want to participate anymore because remember, all of a sudden, then a couple years later, Hasbro did their own con up there in Providence.
Yep.
I don't remember the name of it, but I don't think it went over all that well. Just it didn't have vendors, so
Yeah, wasn't it right before the pandemic, and then
yeah,
and
yeah, I wanted to go to it.
They changed to PulseCon, I believe.
Yeah, and
Okay,
it just
Viper Scout says Hasbro pulled the licensing to do HasCon. Okay, so HasCon was the one that you were just talking about. Then the pandemic hit. Then they just did PulseCon because once they realized from the pandemic that they can do it that way, why bother? You know? It's all done in your studio,
but you're missing the key point, and that's the camaraderie, the family. So I remember driving home. It's a long drive from Chattanooga. It's family sleeping. I'm thinking. And I thought back to the rec room. You kicked me out of your Joe group. And you didn't want me part then. And look at what we built here. Me and these other guys. Okay, well, it's time for the next challenge. Let's see if we can do a Joe show. Because I want to see my friends each year. And that's the whole reason that the JoeFest came around.
That's awesome.
I just want to see my friends each year. That's all it is. It's the God honest truth. And it wasn't just for my friends, but the looks on those people's faces at the end of it. Where are we going to meet each year? What are we doing? You know?
And well, that's what I was saying earlier. Like if someone put something together and said we're just meeting at the mall, and it was all of us and we've got to know each other and we're just going to hang out for 3 days. eat, go to dinner, just tour the city, do whatever, I'd be like, let's go, let's go do it. Because
Yep.
as you get older, it's harder to
You
come by feeling like that you're 17, 18 again, and you don't think about work, you don't think
you
about anything.
value this time. You
Yeah,
value it. I can't wait for it each year because I'm working the whole weekend, and and sometimes I've been accused of like you're ignoring me, but I'm working it because what I'm doing is I want you to have the best time of your year. I want it. I want it to be perfect for you. I don't. I don't care about anything else. So I'm literally running around like a madman the whole weekend,
I can
and
only
my
imagine.
time is usually Sunday. I go on the floor and I shop like crazy. But um, it's just I want it to be perfect. You can't. I know you can't be perfect, but I want you
No.
to walk away each year going, man, I had a great time. You know?
Yeah, that's what all you can really ask for. That everyone has a good time there, um, or at least you hope most people have a good time there.
Yeah, yeah. You can't.
Or you froze up.
Good.
No, you're completely frozen right now.
Really?
All right,
Let's
there you go.
try. Yeah,
Now you look good.
okay. Whew. First time anybody's ever said that.
Wait, you're okay. Now you're freezing again. Now you're completely frozen. So I don't know if you can hear.
I turned the Wi-Fi on and I turned it off because sometimes it'll.
Yeah,
Are you good now?
yeah, it seems good now.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah. I live down in a little bit like a gully, so
Okay.
um, sometimes the reception can be a little challenging. Huh.
Don't worry. Everyone knows the problems that I've had with the internet with the stream the past year, and
Yeah. Yeah.
it's part of the charm of this channel.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so you decide that I'm gonna put one together. I'm gonna put a Joe
Small.
centric show.
Small. Very small. Because I am a blue collar worker. I can only afford so much. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? So I go to a local hotel here and I'm like, I just could do a little what we did a few swap meets at local toy shops up in Columbia, before there was toy stores here in Augusta. And it went very well. That we turned into they turned into bigger events where we had barbecues, and so we started really forming a network. So I decided, hey, let's try a little show. So I went over to the local Hilton Garden Inn, and they had one little ballroom that you could fit, let's say 25 tables, just round it. Okay. I sold those tables, sold out within a day. Shocked. All right. But I held it in March. That right after Joe Con was in June, July the year before. I did it in March, and we sold out quickly. Um, the turnout. This is where it's kind of like a little bit of legendary. The turnout. We got there at 7 in the morning. Me and my wife to set up the ticket table, which I think tickets were like $5. So I'm not. I'm never doing this to be rich type of deal. You know what I'm saying? I just
Yeah,
want people to come, but I got to cover the cost of the place. You know?
I want to say something about your prices, and hopefully you can say because I want to talk to you a little bit after the show. Is you and me.
Sure.
Um, I looked at your prices and I went for a whole week for a whole family to
Yep.
go. It is less for the whole weekend. It is less than for me and my two kids to go to Motor City Comic Con for one day.
Yep.
All right. Now I understand they're different because
Yep.
yours is Joe related, but you have all these companies there these
Yeah.
smaller toy companies now, where in Motor City Comic Con, it's a lot of vendors, a lot of artists alley, but if you're gonna, it's like $40 a person to take two
All
kids.
of them. All of
Yeah.
them
So if
nowadays.
I'm gonna
40,
spend
50 a person.
yeah, if I'm gonna spend $130 after the fees and everything, I'm not gonna take my kids and not let them get anything. So it goes back to kind of what people talk about, like sporting events. It's gonna cost you five
And
hundred
guess what?
dollars. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, and
I,
it's disappointing,
I,
but
even for vendors, I mean, I keep the prices as low, as low, as low as I can keep it. I'm never, I'm not in it to make a fortune. I'm just not. I want it to be a destination each year where people come and have fun. It's never going to change.
I,
I
I,
mean,
I mean, I love that because I think a lot of us that are doing YouTube kind of feel the same way.
yep.
I
And
get super chats, I make some money, but I'm not getting rich off this
no,
like a
you're
lot.
not getting rich. It's a passion.
Yeah,
It's a passion. And, for me, we offered the family tickets, all right? And it's, two adults and however many kids you want to bring. I don't care if you got two adults and 40 kids. I want the kids there. I want them to share in the passion.
if you have 40 kids, you need
So
to
yeah, you got a problem. I
yeah,
get
you
that.
need to put a
Yeah.
you need to learn how to put a condom on. All right, I'm just saying. All right?
Yeah, but because I've had people come and actually bring their friends from down the street because mom and dad don't want to go or this and that, but they get a carload of kids. I'm fine with that. Bring them all. Bring
See,
every
that's
one
awesome.
of them.
I, I
You know,
I love that. I love that.
and
That's
then
how
just
you're
think
thinking.
if mom and dad, because it's more moms nowadays with dads doing it, if they want to walk around the floor and buy something together and create those memories, then we succeeded.
And
We've accomplished the mission.
and again, I have not been to where I've never been to JoeFest, but I've also never been to Codename Iowa. But I've heard them talk about like on the full force, and it sounds like they have the same idea. They have things set up for the kids because they're like, bring your kids,
Yep.
let them come and enjoy what we're doing.
Yep.
And that's really how, I mean, again, my kids are older now, but we went to a few, Motor City Comic Cons and we had fun.
Yep.
Uh,
But
you
you
know,
have those memories. That's the key right there. Who
yes,
cares what you bought? Who cares what comic book or toy you bought? But you got to
exactly.
remember that time with your son, and then maybe when I hate to say when we all leave the planet, and your son's still around. I remember when Dad took me to Motor City Comic Con. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or Joe Fest. That's that's what this is about. It's
My,
not going to change.
so we went to Motor City Comic Con. My son dressed up as Red Hood
Hmm.
from Batman. No
Yep,
one knows who Red Hood is, right?
I do.
Well, they do now, but this was a few years ago, right?
Yeah.
And he wore the mask and the suit that he had, but then he sees this guy walking around as Red Hood. Well, come to find out, this guy does a YouTube show. He does a whole YouTube show as Red Hood. He's got Robin. I kind of nudged my son to go up and talk to him. This guy was the nicest guy in the world.
Hmm.
He let him wear his Red Hood helmet. He signed autographs for him. My son talked his ear off, and I sent that guy a message like when we were done, and I said, "I just want you to understand. I know you don't have kids because he talks about how he didn't have kids. I go, this meant the world, and you could have just been like, oh yeah, hey, signed something and went away. You let him wear the mask. You let him talk to you. Like everything that you did, he's never going to forget that. And again, I feel like it's the same idea of what like what you're trying to do.
And it goes further than that because it's when it comes down to guests and vendors. If there's ever something where I see that it's not a friendly experience, they don't come back. I, you know, I want vendors to come. I want them to. I want them when you leave the place. I want them to everybody be happy. I want a good experience. And you can get, it's all types of people, and some of them can be not very friendly. I
Hmm.
don't want. And some of them so stern. We've already kicked some out because of it. I'm
Yeah.
just I want a good time for all. And it's not saying that a vendor's got to give away merchandise for it because it's cheap, and I understand the haggling, but I want everybody friendly.
Yeah.
So
Because I
because
mean,
I'm
you
not
bring
making a
in,
living on this, you know what I'm
yeah,
saying? So
but
I'm
you
going
are.
to do
I
it
mean,
right.
when you bring in vendors, they are doing it to make a profit. And I was
Yep.
telling, I was on a show last night with Delta 17, Steve and Ken, and one thing I told them, I'm like, I don't. If someone wants to give me something to review for free, thank you.
Yep.
But you're in it to make money. Like you're doing this as a business. Nobody should expect you to give them anything.
No.
So, but again, a smile, it's free. To
Yep.
be
Yep.
kind and polite to
Just be.
people,
Yep. Yep.
and it goes across the board, to everyone. And
Yep.
you don't, and if you don't like someone, you just don't talk to them.
Yep. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
especially
Yeah.
at an
Exactly.
event, especially at an event where it's someone else's event. Have
Yep.
respect for them. I say the same. There's a lot of people I don't like. I don't go on other people's streams when they're on and start blasting them because that's just rude to everyone. I don't want someone
Yep.
doing it here, and I don't do it to other people's channels because
Yep.
it just shows the type of person you are.
Yes, and you're showing her you're a much bigger person by not doing it. So
At 5'4", I'm not much bigger than.
yeah, I'm only 5'5.5". So come on.
Yeah. My son just wondering if the Wi-Fi is having a problem. I'm like, no, it was Ed's crappy internet.
I'm on Verizon right now, and then I go back to Comcast and back and forth. And
so, so you start with this JoeFest. You've had it going now for a few years.
yep,
Now you were now
the first
explain
Joe
what.
Fest. Let me tell you, if we had so many people there at 7 a.m., they were lined out the front of the hotel and down to the highway that the news station came out trying to figure out what the heck was going on at the hotel.
Wow.
The ballroom got so busy that the vendors got upset and took their merchandise outside with the tables and created like a street fair in the
That's
hotel parking lot. It was legendary to me that everybody came together and made it such a good time. And then the next year we went to the next biggest venue here, and we were told not to come back after that because they couldn't handle the crowd.
so. So how many venues have you been at?
This is my third one, and
Okay.
this one now is quite full. We expanded to our front vestibule area this year. We could go to a second floor if we want to. I don't think it's a fair fight for a vendor upstairs as compared to downstairs, so really don't want to do that. But our waiting list has exceeded 200 vendors now, so we could really double in size if we want to.
Oh wow.
Demand has just picked up over the years. It's been incredible. But I think it's right back to the front part there. If you try to treat people the way you want to be treated, they'll keep coming. So,
So I gotta ask about the vendors. So this
mhm,
is called Joe Fest, so it's supposed to be GI Joe centric. But
centric, but
yeah,
it's more of a toy con. It
yeah,
really is.
and clearly Hasbro, and this is very disappointing that I've even mentioned to Lenny in talking with him back and forth. Just it'd be great if they could go, and it blows my mind that Hasbro doesn't look at it like, hey, there's someone doing a show. We don't even have to pay for it. All we have to do is send the 3 people down there, pay for their
And I've
hotel.
I've offered to even pay for that.
Yeah, which you shouldn't have to offer.
No, I won't pay $1 million. I get it, but
Yeah,
it's more
but
because, again, like I said, I want a good experience for everybody, and I think. They would have a good experience if they got to meet their fans. They're not going to San Diego. They're
yeah,
not.
and
They're
they've said the
not.
same thing. Like Lenny's said, he goes, I would love to go, and but to me, it was the same thing with Big PowerCon. Mattel decides to pull away, and it's like, wait a minute, someone is doing an event for you. All you have to do is send some
Yep.
people to represent the Masters of the Universe. Why
Yep.
wouldn't you want to do that for someone that's already doing something? But my thing is, so it's Joe centric, but obviously there's no GI Joe. There's no GI Joe presence there. There
Mhm.
are other military lines. Delta 17 will be there. I believe Monster Force. But now
Yep.
it seems like
Patriot
there's
Force.
going to be, yeah, also a very heavy presence with Mythic Legions, Savage Crucibles. I know there's
Animal Warriors.
Animal, yeah, AWOC. How do you feel that fits in with everything? Because
This
I feel
this
like
goes.
Mythic Legions is going to be the biggest of them all, just because they are.
Yeah,
Unless
they are huge.
if Hasbro sent Joe down there, I don't see too many independent toy companies bigger. Well, you also Super Seven, I guess. But I
Super
think,
7, and they're doing O-rings. So
yeah, and hopefully they have some because I
um,
do want to see what they're going to do.
they are trying. Unless I've been told, but I don't have any confirmation on anything. But they already have said they would like to come back year after year. So if it's too hard to get it in this year, they'll be out in force next year. So
Yeah.
and
Well,
we've already discussed about doing certain ones for JoeFest.
so how do you feel that those like that type of stuff fits in?
How does it
Because
fit
Mythic
in?
Legion.
It goes right back to what we started with before. How did I play with my Joes?
So
I,
okay, so
all of it,
you
all
have
of it.
no problem
I
mixing in
mean,
your Mythic Legions with your classified figures.
you could get your classified Duke in an alley with a Savage Crucible or Mythic Legion dragging or something, and create a whole new world. And that's where the imagination comes back.
Of course, I moved my Savage Crucible. I was
My
I
local
was about
shop
to
just
grab
got them.
I was about to grab Duke in my Savage Crucible, but I moved the Savage Crucible over there.
My local shop, Top Dog Comics, just got in cases of them. I'm gonna go grab something. I want to have one in hand.
They have so I did a review. Uh, Full disclosure, I have an issue with the ankles. They're really weak.
Okay.
Uh, they just don't have the strength to hold them. But everything else on the figure is amazing. The
Hmm.
detail, the paint. It is a mix of. Do you have AWOC at all?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They are a mix of AWOC and Mythic Legions.
I mean, to me, every company is started somewhere,
Yep,
and every company. Yep,
and I
it's
have no
you are.
problem.
Yep, yep,
I do my reviews, and I'm going to be honest, and I'm not looking to bash people.
yep.
You hope that that they address it, and they addressed it on my Facebook or on my Instagram about that they're going to have they're going to have something going out to talk about the ankles because more than a few people have talked about it. But that's the only again, if that's the only complaint that I
Not
have,
negative, but helpful criticism.
yeah. It,
Yeah,
to me, as long as a company they are aware of it and they want to go and address it, and there's a lot of companies that are really good with that.
and they seem very motivated. I've talked with the owner there. They seem very motivated to
Yeah, I think
continue.
it's the big corporations that they have a hard time changing things because it's
Yep,
all it's all politics. We all
yep,
no matter how you
yep.
look at it, all the red tape, all the politics, in a corporation. So, so this is the first time Mythic Legions what what big vendors has it been mostly military vendors till now, like military lines.
It's an awfully big convention center.
Okay, but
You can
the
only.
actual toy company. So
Yeah, this is the first year that we've had this many toy companies. So to me, it's really starting to get its legs under it. Joe Fest, they're actually starting to see, what it's about,
Yeah,
and want to be a part. So,
and that I love.
um,
Krusty, no, Gridiron was supposed to go, but for some odd reason they had to bow out. I know Tony was excited at first, but
yeah,
they did have to bow out, unfortunately. So
yeah, yeah.
that was
We'll welcome back next year if they want to come. We're more than glad to have them. I I tried for a while. I want those guys. I love their stuff. So,
the detail. I do so many reviews on them because my buddy buys it and then he's like, "You want to review it?" I'm like, "Sure, I do." And so I think
hmm
people have now got. I mean, I was in a on a Discord, and a couple people are like, "Yeah, you're the person that I'm always watching do all these reviews for Mythic Legion or not Mythic Legions Gridiron, so keep them coming." It's like the
hmm
one thing I said I should have gate kept because I kept saying like, "Hey, nobody reviews them, so when you do them, you get great views." And I'll see people with like 500 subscribers, 400 subscribers, and they review a Gridiron, and they have like 2,000 views, and I'm like, just like should I gate
yeah,
kept that, not let anyone
they
know.
make great stuff. They
They
do. They
do.
make great stuff. So,
They
yeah,
really do,
I was a
and
little
I
sad when they
like the
said.
owner.
I was sad when they said they couldn't come. I was planning big things. But
Yeah.
yeah, man,
Um,
maybe next year. Maybe next year. Who knows?
yeah, there's always next year, and I hope to, as long as I can, and to financially it works out, that I'm able to go every single year because there's just going to be more and more people that you get to
Yep.
know, especially as I do more YouTube and the channel grows, and you get to meet all these people, and but again, the actual meeting face to face and hanging out, and you're spending 4 to 5 days not worrying about going to work, and when you get off, it's just like you wake up, boom, and you're back there, and you don't have to hang out with the same person all day.
Hey,
You know,
Lawrence, are you a singer?
no, God, no.
Oh, come on.
God,
You said you don't drink, so we can't get a couple of drinks in you
no,
to
no, yeah,
sing.
I've never drank in my life, so I don't get the liquid courage to get up and do karaoke.
Yeah, we did it last year for the first time. I was really skeptical on it, but um, you know, let's put it
Ken
this:
Ken
you,
seems to want to do it.
when you get families to come, all right. The hardest part about toy collecting is getting the women involved with the
Yeah.
show. You know what I'm saying? A lot of them either stay in the room or to go over to the art museum or whatnot. They came down for the karaoke, man. And it was packed. It was surreal because it's right next to where we do the toy swap. So you can walk back and forth.
Okay.
And it was amazing. I mean, all the toys and some of the people got up there. It was incredible. They were good. I mean, really good. You
There are
know?
some
So,
there are some people that have that singing talent. There are
yep,
people that don't care that they can't sing, but they're gonna do it.
yep.
And you know what?
But
I God bless anyone because I'm a skateboarder. There are
yeah,
people that suck at skateboarding, but if you are having fun, who cares?
yep.
And
And
that's what I tell everyone.
we did a lot of toy uh songs, like cartoons and stuff like that.
Oh,
It w- so it was hitting right where it needs to be. It just
someone
yeah.
did Gem, right? Please tell me someone sang Gem.
Oh, we had Jem there last year.
Thank God.
We had her there herself. So yeah, it was great. She had a
Really?
blast. Oh yeah, she had an absolute blast. We
Oh
had
man.
her and Lisa Raggio for it was the first con she ever did last year. Uh,
Wow.
Voice of Sarana. And she's become a good friend. She loves it and she wants to come back and
That
you got to rotate out a little bit, just to not make it stale. But
that is
yeah,
awesome.
we'll have her back because she was really good people.
No, and it seems like you get a lot of good guests that come in there.
Good
Uh,
vibes. They're happy guests. They're you go to some mega shows and you go and you're finally going to meet this guy, you walk away disappointed.
Well, they always say never meet your idols.
Yeah.
Now, again,
Yeah.
I'm not like that.
No, me neither.
We discussed that. Like,
Yep.
a person is just, you know, you're no different than me, and I'm
Yep.
no different than The Rock, um, and people have bad days. But guess what? Like, that's your experience. And I fix copy machines, so I'm in and out of offices. There are days that I have a bad day, but that person, like that, those people that I'm walking in their business, they don't care. They don't want me to
Yep.
be an asshole when I walk in because I'm having a bad day.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
so you have to learn to check it. But again, I don't know how can you not be happy when you're just at a convention for toys of something you like. All right. Um, I guess like if you like sports and don't like toys, I could see why you wouldn't be happy. But why the hell
Sure.
would you be
Sure.
there? Why would you be there?
I've learned with a lot of these guests because they're older really now because they were our age when they were doing the cartoons. So they're really older and they're real appreciative of their fans at this point
Yeah.
in their life. So
No, that's awesome. I'm looking forward to it. At least seeing what other people sing, maybe. Uh,
yeah. Yeah, Morgan. I've met Morgan before. She's the voice of the Baroness. She's going to be there, and she's incredible. She's just so friendly and so personable, and
that's cool.
yeah, yeah,
So
she's really good.
now you talked about this toy swap. So on Friday, when does the show start?
When does the show start?
I think I
Um,
think I think I was told 6 that we now. I'm
it's either
I'm
5:30 or 6 to like 2 hours. We only open for like two hours and then like another half hour early or something or an hour early for VIPs.
okay.
So I think I might have added it an hour this year. I can't remember, but it's on
No,
the website, JoeFestUSA.com. It has the all across the top the times, but it's literally like 2 or 3 hours on Friday night. I think it ends by 7, 8 o'clock, and from there we close the floor, and everybody goes up to the toy swap the first night.
all right. So explain this toy swap and how this.
It's on the second floor, overlooking the sales floor, and you just we have tables out, and the room gets overcrowded, and they spread into the long hallway leading up to the hotel, and people just put out boxes or tubs. Last year we asked people to bring like no more than 3 tubs per person type of deal because we wanted everybody to be part.
All right. So it's not just for the toy swap. Is not just for vendors.
Oh God,
It-
no, no, no,
okay.
because I
So
advertise
so
that
so
it's
I
for
come there.
it's
I'm
free.
on a panel. Okay. So I
Yeah.
could bring a couple tubs of stuff that I want to get rid of
Yeah,
and
yep,
see if I can get
it's
rid of it.
free.
Okay.
And
All right.
what we really traditionally what happens is that the vendors are up there buying because, especially like the locals in the area, they'll come and just bring what they got, and a
All
lot of
right.
times the vendor will buy it all. So, um, and then you got people that are there, they bring their extras and stuff like that. But it's a great conversation starter. It's how people meet people.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of great deals, but we do that actually Friday and Saturday night. We learned that, a lot of those shows will do one night of it, but you got 2 busy nights in the hotel, and what else are they going to be doing? So
Yeah.
yeah,
So
six
Tony
to eight.
says,
Okay.
yeah, 6 to 8 is for Friday. Early admission is 9 to
Yep.
10 on Saturday, and then
Yep.
10 to 5, and then Sunday 11 to 5.
Yep. Yep.
And we'll be there till Monday.
Yeah, I will be too. I live across the street, but I get a hotel room, so
Okay.
it's just
Now-
too much to travel. The hotel has been sold out since before Christmas. Um, and some of the partner venues have been sold out. Rooms have been really hard. Once I put them up for sale, they go and they go so quickly. It's crazy, but
And the
it's
rooms
because
are
you
not, they're not a bad price.
No, we negotiate the price. See, it's the same as the show. I
Yeah.
want it as cheap because here's the secret: you're traveling here, you're spending money to get here to spend money at a toy show. What's the last thing you can do is want to spend extra money on tickets and hotel rooms. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You want that money to reward the vendors with. So,
And you're only staying in the hotel to get a couple hours of sleep anyway.
oh my God, that one night I was up there, it was like 5 in the morning. I mean, we were down there. Security hates us at times, and we had a little couple brushes over the years, but there's new management now, and they want us there. So, um,
we've seen the brushes and on the
yeah,
internet.
yeah, there's one security guy that's just not very friendly, and and maybe in rights they didn't understand us
Yeah.
because it's new to the area. They didn't know what it is. And people buy these hotel rooms not to sit in the hotel room, but to hang out in the lobbies to talk with each other.
Yeah.
So they lightened up a lot last year, and the new guy just took over like the month before. So I think it'll be even better this year.
I hope so. I'm looking forward to it. And
Oh yeah, it's real light. It is. The only the biggest problem is that the bar closes like at midnight, and it's like the party's still raging. I mean, it's
that
like,
seems early. Why not two?
yeah,
That seems.
I
I
begged
don't
them.
drink, so it doesn't matter to me. But
No, me neither. I begged them. I mean, because people want food. We
yeah,
down the streets of Domino's, right? Because we couldn't get any food in the hotel because it was so packed, and the restaurants were like hours wait. So we call up Domino's. I remember my wife. She called them like 10 o'clock, and they're open till like 1 a.m. He goes, "I'm not going to be able to get you a pizza by 1." And it's like that's how many people we get here now. It's just
so order the pizza early is what you're saying.
you
So
have
I'm
to.
gonna eat at three
Yes,
in the morning.
DoorDash works hard that weekend. You know. Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm looking. Like I said, I'm looking so forward to it. Meet you, meet all the other people that, um, that
You
I've
have to grab
gotten to
me because
know.
I'm going to be running back and forth, and you got to literally stop me because
Yeah, no,
that's just how I am. You know what I
you
mean?
well,
I want
you have
everything
other
right.
things. You have other things to worry about.
Yeah,
Um,
to me, it's a
Mach-
working weekend. You know,
Machine Man asks if you warn the local restaurants.
we actually have started working with the city the last 2 years,
Okay.
and they email out because the sandwich shop right across the street it went in there at a Sunday night last year. And we live here, but we never ate there. But we figure, oh, we'll go over there, order a cheeseburger. Well, we can get you the bun and the cheese, but we're out of meat. All right, well, how about the fish? We're out of fish. What about? Oh,
I can,
yeah,
we can get you the cheese and the
yeah.
bun.
The fish
So that's
place actually
that's a
the
grilled cheese.
the year of COVID, um, we did the show, but that was the early stages. Nobody really knew what was going on. You know what I
Yeah.
mean with the COVID. So what we did was we only sold half the floor, and we did everybody 6 foot apart. And the people ate at the fish restaurant. The owners came to us at the end of it and thanked us because they said they would have gone out of business without that income that weekend.
Oh wow, awesome.
And the great thing is that we never got a reported case of anything breaking out or anything like that. Nobody got sick. Which in hindsight, you look at, wow, lucky we didn't. But
Yeah.
we actually helped people that year. A lot of people needed the getaway, just the interaction. So everybody wore a mask and all that. But man, I'm glad those days are over.
Oh, you and me both.
Yeah,
I have all these nursing homes that were like,
yeah,
I'd walk in and be like, "There's 18 cases and there've been 8 deaths," and you're like, "Great, thanks a lot."
yeah, yeah. It was tough times. Hopefully, never again.
Baldy is wondering if anyone got the Irish flu.
Not that I know of.
Ken, Ken, did you?
I
For
do
those,
know we have one Irish gentleman that comes over last couple of years now, and he gets to the bar. I can tell you, he can outdrink all of them.
is
He's
that is that
Stephen Kelly.
no, not who I was thinking.
He's
Patty,
such a nice guy.
Patty Lenny,
No,
what I was thinking.
they are coming this year, and I can't wait
Yeah,
to meet them. Huge fans, you know. Always like Patty um and Bob Bretchen, man.
so
That's been a goal of mine since ever doing this, just to say, I don't know. I mean, to me, he's a legend, you know, and some of the crazy part is people have commented, "Who is he? Are you serious? He's like the Ron Rudat of Britain, you
but you
know?"
know what? There's a lot of people I see on these GI Joe groups that they don't they're not toy collectors, and they see Super 7 price of $55 and they're outraged by it, which you can be outraged by the quality of the Super 7 products. That's one thing. But you can't be outraged by how much an ultimate costs, because that's just the base price of them.
It's what it costs now.
And when people see $25 for, for a figure, and they're trying to tell you how much, they paid $3 and 85, and you're going, I don't, the first thought, why are you even comparing anything to 85? But
Yeah.
you realize, like, they only collect GI Joe. They don't really understand the economics of toys.
Yep.
So it's not shocking how many people don't really know, because a lot of people just walked in and saw them sitting at Target or Walmart. No one saw GI Joes at Walmart because they're never there.
Or Target. I mean, it really.
Well, Target, at least there were at least some. All right, there
I've given
and
up.
more at Target.
As much as I love toy hunting, and I love hopping to every store. I've fallen prey to the online. It's just easier.
Yeah, my biggest issue when it comes to toy hunting, especially Target and stuff, it's not that they don't have anything. It's that you're walking all the way to the back of the store where the toys are and the collectibles are, knowing that there's nothing there, and you're just going to be disappointed. But you're there because maybe you'll find that Jada Street Fighter figure. Maybe you'll
And
find that new Gargoyles figure.
and
Um,
the whole I mean, the whole aisle is empty. I
yeah,
don't understand it. How
and
the
it's
even
getting
like
better.
Target wants to operate like that. You know?
Yeah. Krusty says he saw 12 Techno Vipers at his Walmart today. Blew my mind. I do not understand what that chain is doing anymore. Well, what a lot of that is on the Hasbro and how they ship the stuff out. Everything,
Distribution. Yeah.
yeah, they are in straight cases now, so people don't get stuck with a bunch of. They talked about it before, like there
Lady
wouldn't be.
J.
Yeah, well, because before there was issues with all those Cobra Commanders and Gung Ho's, because the bats. I think the bats came. The bat and the Alley Viper, I think, came in the box, but then there was also like a Gung Ho, and I think Cobra Commander. So they got stuck in the boxes.
Yeah.
So there you are with this abundance of a figure that's not an army builder, and everyone's buying up the army builders, and no one can get any. I mean, I got them, so.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, a lot. That's the one good thing about Pulse is I've been able to get stuff on there. I've really had no trouble. Target, I've had a little problem with, but it's for the most part, it's been seamless. If you wait, they wind up adding more to it eventually.
And that's another thing why I say, like, I think a lot of people are Joe collectors, not toy collectors. When they're complaining that Paul sold out, like, just go over to BBTS or Entertainment Earth.
Yes.
You don't
Yep.
have to put anything down. It ships out now, and I don't. And again, I don't want to, poo poo, other companies, like one of my sponsors, Hella Dope Toys, where they're going to take a portion, or you can pay the whole thing because they're smaller. But if that's like your thing, where you don't want to put any money down, BBTS and Entertainment Earth, or if you get it on Pulse, you're not paying anything until it ships.
Yeah.
So you have your time to cancel. It's it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, but I don't know. Yeah. See, I bounce all over the place. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and I guess I'm going to be on a panel with Travis Moody for a
Yep.
toy kind of. Well, he's a toy kind of mood. I am not. I'm only associated with him by having to stay in a hotel room with him and do a panel with him. Uh,
I'm excited to meet him. He seems like a really good guy. We've had talks and seems real
he's a very
genuine and all.
he's an interesting person. I
Yeah.
can say that. I like Travis. I do. He can kind of drive you nuts, though.
Oh well.
But lots of people can drive me nuts. There are times my moderators can drive me nuts, and I'm sure I drive them nuts. No, and again, he finally actually I went back and I watched what he was kind of talking about, and when he discussed stuff with you, and he said, one of the big things is there's really nothing to represent the modern GI Joe right now. It's
Yep.
all all the panels are they discuss O-rings and vintage stuff, and that's not where the collecting is right now. And that
Yep.
is not me saying anything bad about the 1/18 scale, because I have a whole room dedicated to it, including my childhood aircraft carrier. So,
I
but
will tell you this though. That Friday night on the left wall, okay, is the toy department. And they save their Joe stock for the show each year. They stockpile it, they put
okay.
it in storage, and it's the only place you can get is JoeFest. And the building tilts when the doors open to go get the 3 3/4.
Oh, and again, I am not putting it down at all.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it.
Like I said,
It's just
I still collect it, but for me, I like the classified.
yeah, yeah. It's
I
a new generation. I get it.
I'm
I do.
old. My eyes don't work as well. Um,
A lot of things don't work as well.
that is very true. But when he brought up what his idea was and what he discussed with you, I said that's actually it's pretty smart, because you want to bring
That's why I
newer
wanted.
people to it.
I wanted the team here from Hasbro for that. I
And
sent him such an apology. I was so devastated. I thought for sure this year we were gonna get
uh,
some
I
interaction.
I think they were trying to.
Yeah, no, I have had talk with them, and they're gonna continue to try.
Yeah, it's just
So
it's too bad that, again, there's only you don't even have to send all of them if you didn't want to, but there's no reason why you can't send Lenny, Tony, and Emily.
yep,
Um,
and
it's
let them meet the people. Let them.
yeah, it's
They're not gonna harm them or nothing. I'm sure of that. People are big online, and I've seen the comments that people make, but when you get down to something festive like this, I think they would learn a lot. I really do.
I think a lot of people have bigger mouths on the internet.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
we are keyboard warriors. I have
yeah,
a feeling that some of the awful things that people say about Emily,
yeah,
they might not say to her
yep.
when Lenny, who is a very large man, is
Yeah,
standing
he
next
looks like it.
to
Yeah,
her.
yeah. And heck, I mean, as far as we go, we hired the local police department. We've got plenty of them there, so we've never had an incident. After hours at night, the drinking starts, and occasionally you could have somebody getting foolish, but that's anywhere. You know what I
and,
mean? That's
and what was really cool at PowerCon is there was a few police officers. I was only there for one day. There was a few police officers, but there was this one, and he was in the Mythic Legions line.
oh yeah,
And he
yeah.
he was just looking at stuff, and then
One
I
guy,
see him at another booth. He's just looking at stuff, not doing that, like he's looking at. He's like, and you could tell he was very interested
yeah,
in just what this was all about.
yep,
And the guy was like, he like he wasn't like I don't know if he bought anything, but I'd see him, and he stood in the Mythic Legion's line. He didn't just cut it; he just stood there and just okay,
It's
Uh,
we haven't discussed the Sergeant Slaughter aspect of JoeFest, but I don't know if you've heard the stories or whatnot, but Sergeant Slaughter is such an incredible person. He actually loves this hobby as much as they love him. And after hours down at the bar, Sergeant Slaughter will go down there and hang out with everybody just like you and I would. And that's what makes it so special. It's the one-on-one part, and it's like this is your idol. A lot of these guys, and he's just a regular dude. It's incredible to see. He brings his whole family to
so
Joe
my lo-
Fest.
so my local toy store, they have people come in all the time. Sergeant Reds.
Mhm.
They're they're becoming, and he wants it to be like this. I think John and his wife Dee are awesome. Uh, they want it to be a destination. Like they want people to come up to Utica, Michigan. We're 10 miles out of Detroit. They want people to come up here and experience it. And Utica is they have like a big fish aquarium going in across the street. So they had Sarge there not too long ago. And I was talking to Dee, the owner's wife, and she's there every day. And she goes, he is the nicest guy in the world.
He
And
really
to
is.
top that, she goes, he loves his wife. Of course, as a wife, and you're kind of like, oh, of course he does. And she goes, the moment like we mentioned his wife, his eyes lit up and he could not talk enough about her. You can just tell that he is the most loving, caring man.
He is. He's incredible. And his one day out of the blue, like when I was with the COVID Joe Fest that year, you know, should we do it? Should we not do it? This, that, blah, blah, blah. All right. Um, he called me. I was at work to pick up the phone. This is Sergeant Slaughter. He goes, you keep the chin up and you keep looking straight and you do what you need to do. And it was like, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But just the encouragement, it was like he cared enough to think about you who's having a hard enough time trying to make a tough decision, you know?
Yeah, so like what Matthew here says, don't get me started. I was never a fan of Sergeant Slaughter.
Yeah,
Now, and again,
for the
I'm going.
toy, yeah,
Well,
the
okay,
toy, I was like, eh.
so no, so this is what it goes back to, and I will say it over and over and over, and people are like, you need to get over that. I'm
Yeah.
like, that guy turned his back on Hulk Hogan in the USA. And they expected me to think that Colonel Mustafa wasn't the Iron Sheik. I could see it was the Iron Sheik.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
to me, he should have been a Cobra. Like that's the way that I looked at it. And what's funny is that I didn't like Sergeant Slaughter as a kid, and I didn't like Dr. Mindbender, nor did my best friend growing up. And we both took off Sergeant Slaughter's arms, put him on Dr. Mindbender, got rid of the cape, and he became the character Dr. Mindslaughter. And that became a real character. And I actually told it to Lenny when I did this show with Lenny, and he was like, "That is awesome."
that's a good
And
idea.
people have asked if I would do that. I'm like, well, I'm not gonna rip apart my Dr. Mindbender classified.
It's a little bit expensive
Yeah,
figure.
exactly. Maybe when they do a retro version or
Yeah,
a retro version, I'll figure out something. But he already has huge arms. All right. He
yeah,
already has huge arms. We just
yeah,
give him bigger arms, get rid of the cape, and he was Dr. Mindslaughter. And to this day, like I will still say Dr. Mindslaughter, and people kind of look at me. I'm sorry, I mean Dr. Mindbender.
I think the part that's really was, at first I was like, okay, it's Sergeant Slaughter, right? And I'm like, okay, he's a wrestling guy that just got affiliated with toys.
Yes.
I honestly think that he loves wrestling. I know he does. I've listened to radio interviews.
Yep.
He loves wrestling, but I honestly think he loves the Joe's part just as much, and Sometimes I think a little bit more.
I've heard people say like you could not have picked a better ambassador
Yeah,
for the brand.
yeah. And I'm
Um,
glad he's back. I'm glad he's back with him. I mean, it's
and I love that he owns his own likeness.
yep,
You know, so here you have a Valaverse version at the same time that you have the classified version, the same time that you have the Mattel version, the same time that you have the Motu crossover. As like no other line is going to have that.
yeah.
Except for turtles, because I think if you start a toy company, they just give you a turtle line. Uh,
Just bought my first turtles a couple months back. Never had one.
I'm so glad I'm not. The only turtles I have are my kids' turtles downstairs from the probably 2010s, like that era, 2012, something like that. Not a lot of articulation, and they kind of just sit there because my kids played with them a little bit.
Yeah, I was never into them.
No,
Always knew what they were, but I didn't care.
they were right at the time that we would have been like
Out.
leaving the toy world.
Yeah,
Um, and I mean, I love the cartoon, the animated movie that they did. I love that, and a lot of fun. But I look at them and I'm just like, I have Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow. Those are the ninjas that I have. All right.
yeah,
You can
yeah.
have your turtles that are ninjas all you want. All right. I have Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow. Um,
And in my world, Snake Eyes talked. So
okay, we're ending this now.
see, because I never. My dad bought me the first. He bought me the third issue of GI Joe. I don't think Snake Eyes was in that one. It had the
Okay.
big giant robot on the front, and that was a great issue because it had all the different Joes in there. And I
Well,
loved the original 13. I mean, it's
so it's funny that you mentioned that because I've talked to some people. I've done the show with some people from across the pond, right?
yep,
And a lot of them didn't see Star Wars, or a little bit younger guys, they didn't see Star Wars till later.
yep,
And for me, Star Wars was the hardest thing to play because you had to play it almost as the movie. There was
yes,
no like you
no
couldn't get off.
imagination.
So I talked to Usual Mike, he's from Australia, and he goes, I didn't see the movie till later on. So when I played with the Star Wars figures, I could use my own headcanon. I wasn't able to do that because this was the story. It was these three movies, and that is how you played it. Which even though G.I. Joe had their comic and they had their cartoon, there was always going to be different adventures.
Yep,
And I envy the kids that got to play Star Wars, got to play with the toys, using their own headcanon and not just recreating the movie, which I did so many times. But Transformers, it didn't matter. Motu, you could do whatever you want. But
yep.
Star Wars was just that one. And I think because it was done so, I mean, Star Wars is, I mean, it's our childhood. I mean, no matter how you look at it, there will never be a better saga than those three movies, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Just because
yeah,
what it meant to all of us growing up. What it meant to all of us and what it did for us and what it did for film and movies. Yeah, so the fact that you were able to make Snake Eyes talk, um,
well, he was a commando to me.
yeah,
You know,
oh, yeah, and you didn't know, again, like if you didn't,
no, he didn't know how you're supposed to play with it. But honestly, he was a commando, and he was a badass commando because he was all in black. So
yeah. Allison joins us, says Star Wars was always open ended for me and my friends. Yeah, like not for me, but maybe because G.I. Joe came along, and once G.I. Joe came, I didn't care about Star Wars.
G.I.
There
Joe
needs
was
to be one.
it's military. You could go in the backyard in the grass and they fit right in perfect. Star Wars was the stars, and
Yeah. Hope they don't fit in too well in the grass though.
yeah, they did, and they lost a lot of weapons in that grass and concrete over the years.
I lived in condos, and I was about 3 courts over. There was this player, and I was by myself. And I got home, and I had dropped ripcord. It
Yeah.
was fucking camouflaged. I walked back, and I traced it, and I actually found him. And I was like, "There's no way that I'm ever gonna find ripcord." And sure
You-
enough, I just traced back. It was pretty much a straight shot from my house to it, but it was, you're looking at 2 or 3 courts over in the back. But
Yeah.
luckily there was no walking traffic or anything. And I remember I walked it, and he was really close to where I was playing. But I'm like, there's no way I'm ever gonna find him. He's camouflaged.
You know, I've often thought about that with the classifieds and the 3 3/4, the differences. And the 3 3/4, all these years later, we're still collecting because you're still trying to complete the figure.
Yes.
There was a lot of weapons lost and a lot of little pieces. And the classifieds, I see a lot of people not even opening the boxes. So,
And with classified, let me see if I have it. Where is it? Oh crap! I don't know where it's at. So here. So oh man. So classified, you have all these other companies that are creating weapons. So Tony did this this Roman for me. He's like, I have all these classified guns that I don't want. I'm like, I'll take them. Like a pound of classified guns, almost all classified, just piled up because he doesn't like them. So yeah, there's gonna be abundance of them.
yeah, it's because like I've seen a JoeFest. Maybe it'll be different this year a little bit more, but you see so many for sale in boxes, but you don't see them loose like other stuff. And I kind of wondering what the trend will be on that. You know?
I think a lot of people at first, because I see people still like talk about like, hey, do you think this is a good investment? No, toys are not a good investment. It's an awful investment. All right. It's not the 80s anymore. They overproduce stuff. There will be some that are worth money. If you are buying toys for an investment,
Yeah.
one, it's a bad investment. And two, if you feel you need to buy Legos, they do not go down in price.
Yeah.
And they almost always go up.
Yeah.
Because once they retire them, they go up.
Yeah.
So I sold a bunch of my son's Legos that he never used, and not one of them sold for less than what the original cost was.
Although I will say, I noticed last year at Target there was a lot of Legos on clearance for the first time I've seen that,
Yeah,
and I'm thinking, are they overproducing now, or are they just not making desirable sets? Because I don't collect them, you
I
know.
don't either. Yeah, like I don't either. But
So because you used to never find a Lego on clearance ever.
it's like finding a NECA figure on clearance. It
Yeah,
doesn't happen.
yeah, yeah. You can't
um,
find them on sale or nothing. Jeez.
no, that's like the thing that never happens. But no, it's yeah, yeah. I don't know. I see what you're saying though. And the weapons are so big, but and you watch a review, I will point out like, hey, in 20 years, this is what's going to be missing. Some small little magazine, the little handle that
See,
doesn't stay on a gun, like
we're a
that.
lot smarter though now. When we were younger, we were
You would think
playing
so.
with them. Now we're not playing with them. We're just they're on the shelf.
Yeah,
So I'm wondering. I'm really wondering how that's gonna. Because you look at the 12-inch guys, they're still trying to complete those things because they played with them. I
yeah.
wonder how much of this generation's playing with the classifieds.
Well, it's funny because I hear people talk about how toys are dead after this generation, and I said no, that's not true at all.
Mm-mm.
GI Joe might be. and some of these things that we collect. But if my kid, as an adult, gets into toys, he's going to collect toys of the video games that he was playing.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's what we did, really. I mean, GI Joe was a cartoon because there was
Yeah,
really no video game. That was the video game. So
exactly. But I will say this: I have been in my local toy store numerous times when there will be a kid that's like 9 or 10 come in and go right to that classified aisle, and
yeah,
he has so many classified, and he's not one of those people that is going to Target and buying them up, bring them into his store and jacking up the price. He has vendors. He orders them directly from the vendors.
yeah,
So you're going to pay a couple dollars more, but you and I know how brick and mortar works. He's got to charge a little more to survive, right?
sure, sure,
But
sure.
I've seen numerous kids come in there, go right to there. The other thing they go to is wrestling figures,
Wrestling's huge.
wrestling and Transformers. I found that out, and um, I was really shocked because I didn't even think wrestling was that big. Because
No,
to me, that seemed boring to play wrestle, even though we used to do it. But the way people wrestle now, but I guess it's the same thing as playing
see,
GI Joe.
I see a lot of here locally. I see a lot of Transformers on shelves. I mean,
You see what?
a lot of Transformers on the
I think
shelves.
because I think because they make so many. They
Yeah,
said they said that's one of their biggest sellers, and it makes sense. It's a robot that transforms.
yeah. I mean,
How
it's
hard is
like a
that to sell to
puzzle.
a kid?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I get
like,
it. It's like, how many Optimus Primes do I need? It's like, how many Snake Eyes do I need? I mean,
how many
you
Boba
know,
Fett's do you need?
yeah.
And the Boba Fett tax on top of that. But like the Transformers, like I have a couple Transformers up there. They're all my kids. They're all my sons. So I have them up there. And he liked Bumblebee and he liked Hound, not Hound. Was it Hound? What was the one in the movie? The black. I think it was Hound. Um, and I
Shows you how
re-
much I know Transformers.
well, it's from the movie, and I told him after a couple times. I said I will transform it once a week for you. If you want me to transform it into the truck, it's going to be there or the robot, because it was so frustrating. It
Oh,
was
I
not
know.
like what we had. Like Optimus Prime, he transformed. He was
Yeah,
good. The
yeah,
Seekers, Starscream, they transformed.
yes,
Megatron even transformed pretty easily, even
yeah.
though he kind of fell apart as a gun. Um, and he had really stupid legs. I had that one. Uh,
Such a classic piece, though. Oh my God.
oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
That was so. Oh man, I had that. I had Optimus Prime. Um, it was such a bad figure, though. It was such a bad robot.
That's when I started doing JoeFest. I actually found a complete Megatron, and I didn't have one. And I was like, if I'm going to own a Transformer, this is the one I want.
That expect, and the gun looks so good too.
Yeah.
Yeah, Todd C says, yeah, Transformers will never die.
No.
Again, how hard is it to sell a robot that transforms into a car? Or shall I
Yeah.
say a car that transforms into a robot to a kid?
And it has more of a worldwide presence because
Yes.
G.I. Joe does maybe appeal to Japanese customers as much as a Transformer would.
Yeah, I wonder why that would be. Why wouldn't the
Yeah.
Japanese like the
You know,
American
yeah.
military?
But, that's what it is. It's limited. So, you know, I
But
really wish that G.I. Joe would expand their horizons on, I mean, the what was it, the Soviet figures.
um,
I'm
God,
so I'm tired, so I'm starting to phase
uh,
on you, but
yeah,
yeah, you know what I'm saying, and the we had Big Ben with Britain,
October Guard.
October Guard. I mean, just to me, the time is now for classifieds. Yeah, you can honor the past, but to really appeal more, you need to create new.
But if you're in the Joe communities, you see these people don't want new, and that's the problem.
Oh,
And
look at what they've made though. I mean, like the shooter figure.
yeah,
I mean, I hate to say it, the women figures haven't sold traditionally as it was.
um,
Give me a new dreadnought. I guarantee it'll sell.
but here's the problem. Then people say, well, we don't have the original ones yet. How are you gonna make a new one if you're not gonna give me the original yet? People are
Uh,
still complaining. I don't have the original 13. Well, they're not giving you the original 13 because they they want you to stick around and maybe pick up one of the new figures.
well, they
Like,
better hurry up with the 13 because I'm going to die before long, and I really want a Flash figure.
well, Flash is coming.
Yeah, Flash. I need Zap. I need Flash, and how about a short fuse
Well,
or a
we know
breaker,
Flash.
which is totally antiquated, but I need a classic breaker.
Well, that I could see coming because he's only with the Ram cycle.
What is he just going to have like a cell phone though? I mean, because that's
Well, that is my complaint. When they do a retro card, they should have the retro weapons. They should have
yes,
retro accessories. I understand the logistics
yep,
that it's going to cost more money, but if you're going to do a retro card and tell the people, hey, this is supposed to represent what you had, then
yep,
you take away from something else for that year and say, we are going to do the retro weapons with this, but unfortunately, it's going to mean that we can't do a figure this year. The line is doing so well; their budget is skyrocketing.
sure,
Unfortunately, the amount of people that are designing aren't. It's still Lenny. Lenny designs them. Tony paints them. And then obviously you have other people working behind the scenes. But Flash is coming because we've already seen his weapons in the Dragonfly. They come with Glenda, so you know he's going to come because they're not going to not use that. But Zap, I mean, would they give Zap the bazooka that came with Bazooka? It actually fits Zap better than Bazooka.
yeah.
Short fuse, though, you're right. There have been no mortars yet. There hasn't been any mortars. But as long as we have, they created the helmet for a reason.
Yep.
So this helmet here is going to go to, short fuse. I don't think Zap had.
How about a Hawk, which is the most
Well,
plain and generic figure out there?
Well, again, there you have the helmet.
Yeah.
And you have the HMS. So you know the MMS is coming, or the HMS, whichever. I don't know what the hell
Yeah,
it's called.
MMS. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
MMS.
I need them blonde. I need Hawk blonde.
I will say I wish they would have started with Colonel Hawk because it's going to be kind of weird. Like here you had General Hawk, but we're going to give you Colonel Hawk. Well,
Yeah.
that's not the way ranks work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like if you're getting demoted from a general to a colonel, but
See,
yeah,
to me,
you're absolutely right.
I guess when they do each wave, I wish they would do one new character. And you could make it a limited supply in that assortment to make it more
Or at least
desirable.
every couple waves.
Yeah, something.
But
Just give me
I guess
something new.
when you look at it, they did do Shooter. They
Yeah.
did uh, Parth Varma, Wolf Spider.
Yeah.
They did. They're doing Wreckage. So Wreckage is, even though technically he kind of existed, but really
Yeah.
didn't. The zombie that they did. You better not be throwing up, buddy. The zombie, which again is completely.
How about a
skipping.
Nemesis Enforcer?
Well, he's coming.
Thank God.
Except he's under. His name is Nemesis Immortal.
Okay, I can deal with that.
Yeah, I'm not. Oh, yeah, Helix. I mean, so they are picking from other, and that's great. They need to.
Yeah.
See, I'm not a fan of Cobra La at all.
I wasn't at first, but maybe I really was, but at first I was like, I don't know how to play with this. But man, as time went on, I was like, this is badass. This character, this is,
Yeah, but you also said you didn't have a problem mixing.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
to me, like
He,
I
He
didn't
took
like
Luke
Cobra a lot.
Skywalker's head off. It was fine. I was good with it. Yeah.
But actually, I have created like Valkyrie. Um, I don't consider Kamakura a new. Kamakura. I don't know. I guess technically he is. He wasn't in the O ring, although I have an O ring version, but he wasn't in the classic.
I've,
I like that Lenny wants to grab from Renegades. I as much as I hated Sergeant Savage, I think Sergeant Savage
yes.
as a classified, because that kind of goes back to the Sergeant Rock. He kind of was more like
Yes.
what Sergeant Rock would be, and I
See,
think that would be awesome.
G.I. Joe to me was always military. The ninja part of it never really got into. Just I could care less. Now I liked Storm Shadow, but after that, that was enough for me. I don't need all these ninja out there.
I'm kind of with you. I guess I don't mind it per se. Um,
You
but
had
yeah,
it,
I
but it wasn't
understand
one I grabbed. You know?
like Budo and Chief.
Yeah, I
Uh,
could care less. Yeah,
I didn't need Psych Out.
no. Psych Out got killed a lot.
Yes.
Although I would like a classify to him.
No. See, I'm gonna buy it if they do it.
Oh, I
Just
mean, with
like
the neon green and with the red,
oh,
like radar dishes. I mean,
all the radar dishes on his knees and
yeah. I was like, what is this guy? A lightning bolt was his enemy. I mean,
I a lightning bolt. That is awesome.
uh,
No, I always say like I'm like I don't need him. I don't need Cobra Lot, but I'm gonna buy them.
yeah,
So to me, it's kind of, and they're probably gonna look good because they haven't really done anything that I'm like, this is awful. Other than Falcon's face, which they hate too, and they've readily admitted that it was a mistake.
yeah,
And there's lots of reasons for it. They've done really good. So I'm sure like the Nemesis Immortal / Enforcer and the whole Cobra Law when they get to it, they're gonna look awesome.
yeah.
But I don't want them. And part of the reason why I don't want them to make them is because I know I'm going to buy them, and I'd rather not have them.
How
And
about
that kind of goes for like Raptor. They're making Raptor. I wish they wouldn't.
Oh,
Because
my
I don't want him.
favorite. My
Yeah, I think
favorite.
he's going to be the San Diego Comic Con exclusive.
Oh God, no.
Either that or the PulseCon exclusive.
Oh, stop it with the stupid exclusives.
Yeah, so Starduster is one of them, and then Raptor is the other one.
I love Raptor. That means I'm going to be paying like $200 online.
Oh, they're easy to get.
Are they?
I've had no problem. I've only paid aftermarket price for one figure, and that was Destro at the beginning.
This is my problem I have with the whole situation. Joe fans aren't going to San Diego Comic Con. They're not. You're getting scalpers going to San Diego Comic Con.
Yeah, but they gave the code away and
To who?
to everyone there, and you could use the code.
Yeah,
Now,
unless you know
whatever
somebody,
the code is, I will make sure that you get a code because Chaz
I
the Guru
appreciate it.
Yeah, I will make sure that you get a code if that's how they do it again. I've never had to pay high prices on any figure. And I have every single figure that's been every classified figure other than those the quick repaints that they did because to me there was no change in them. They were the same figure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll make sure that
I would
usually get
love a
3 or 4
Raptor.
different codes.
That character was so badass to me. That was like, it's a giant bird and he's got no shirt on. I mean, come on, he's got claws.
You and I played way differently.
I did. He fit into everything. Raptor was the best.
That is one. I don't think I have his bird anymore, but I have his backpack with the cloth so his hands go through it. I don't even have him displayed. If I remember correctly, I think he's in a bin because I dislike him so much. I know people say like Yeah, like him, Crystal. Yeah, Raptor made my day.
Yeah,
Raptor made Punk's day. Now he can't wait for Crystal Ball. I remember getting Crystal Ball at Children's Palace, and I was so disappointed. It was like the only figure that they had there that I didn't have, and I
yeah.
didn't want them, but I could get a figure, so I got them.
I'm looking. Raptor. He's here somewhere. Here's here's some of the collection.
Oh wow!
I'm kind of redoing it. They're kind of falling over. But there's the autographs on the wall.
Well, you got a lot of base. Yeah,
Yeah, a lot of baseball. There's underneath the autograph helmets is the Defiant. And then
if you need
there's
a
see
home for the Defiant, I'll take it.
you're gonna see you see what's happening with the classifieds.
Yep. The,
That's my ordeal with it. You know, it's my Joes are on the shelf. I love my little Joes, but you know, I'm a different generation, so
well, I'm the same generation.
yeah, I mean from what it is now, I get it.
Yeah,
You know, I do get it. There's
and
still 3 3/4 I don't have yet, so
oh, same with me. Like, there's
you
always
know,
going to be.
the pricey ones.
When I started picking up some Joes years ago, I just wanted to get the figures, and a friend of mine was like, "You really should buy them complete." I'm like, "I just want the figures."
Yeah,
And a few years later, I was like, because this is when Joe wasn't super expensive.
yeah,
Now I'm like, I should have bought them. I should have bought them complete because it was
yeah,
stupid not to.
yeah.
Especially when I bought Firefly and I didn't pay a little bit extra to get the phone and the back piece on his backpack. And
Mm,
now there's no way that I'm getting, because the figure is good, the gun is good, and the backpack is good. There's no way that I'm getting that that phone and that piece for the backpack without spending an arm and a leg.
sure,
Because those are some
sure.
of the most expensive. But 10 years ago when I started doing it, I could have easily, you know, grabbed it for a decent price.
Yeah, yeah.
But no,
Yeah,
I'm so looking forward to, yeah, just over a month.
yeah, it is. It's busy time coming up now. Um, you know, the advertising's out there. Everything's going well. We've already outsold the tickets that we did last year. So, which is, you know, I just want to keep doing that each year. You want to keep getting bigger and bigger. So, this year, you know, we went for different guests. We have a few more creators this year, and then more toy companies than years past. I've learned that it's a toy convention with
Yeah,
some guests. People come to buy toys, and you know, I hear occasionally, why don't you get more guests? You're still coming to buy toys. You know what I mean?
yeah.
It's hard to change the formula because you know, people they come. Some of them will see the guest and they're like, I'd rather spend my money and get a toy. So you know, it's I want to make it rewarding for the guest to come. Meanwhile, rewarding the vendor for coming. So yeah,
Andrew Davis says, fortunately, I'm only chasing Transformers 86 movie figures and anything Jetfire at the moment. So, Andrew, I only highlight this because do you realize this weekend the 86 movie is in theaters? It was out at least here yesterday, and then it'll be there this weekend. So, I'm taking my daughter because my son doesn't want to go. He's like, I never really liked that. I'm like, whatever, I don't care. I'm going to see the Transformers movie because I saw it in theaters when I was a kid, man. So
yeah.
I can't.
Last year they had was it last year they had GI Joe in the theater during
Last
JoeFest.
year, yeah, last year or 2 years ago, and it's in recent memory, that's for sure.
We
Uh,
packed that place. They sold out. It was all JoeFest people there. It was really such a good time.
I'm not gonna lie, if it was one of the other movies, the 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 miniseries, I probably would have gone. But I hate Cobra Lot so much.
Oh,
I'm
come
like, I'm
on!
not spending the money to go see that movie. I'm, I'm just like very
I
bitter
love them. I love them.
I love that you love it, man. Like that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Uh,
I
but
like the
yeah,
obscure stuff, though. Always have.
no, and that's awesome because again, what I like, and this is why, like when people talk about, the GI Joe team and how like they don't know what people want and they need someone that's passionate and knows GI Joe. You don't want me running the brand because
Yeah.
I would never make figures I don't like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that doesn't make a lot of sense, right? Because there's a lot of people that like Cobra Law. I know
Yeah.
that. All right.
Yeah.
Just because
Yeah.
I don't like it doesn't mean that other people, just because I don't like it doesn't mean other people, don't like it. And
Yeah.
they should have the opportunity to get, the things that were made along with other, maybe other, I don't remember if there's other Cobra Law, there were other soldiers or something. I told you I hate it.
Here's an honorary Joe right here.
All right. So I'm glad you showed that. So I've told this story a couple times, and I'll tell you. I can remember the first time I saw the GI Joe commercial. I was sitting in front of the TV, playing with the Lone Ranger right there, and Tonto, and the horses, along with Star Wars.
Still have them here somewhere.
Yeah, along with the Star Wars, and I still have my Lone Ranger and Tonto. And
Yeah.
I only had a couple. I only had a couple vehicles, and I had the snow speeder. I remember seeing the GI Joe commercial. I turned to my dad and said, "Can I get one of those figures?" And he goes, "We'll see." And I can remember we walked into Sears a couple weeks later, Sears toy department, and I saw them and I said, "Can I get a figure?" And my dad said, "Get two vehicles." And I grabbed the Vamp, and then I grabbed I forget what the other thing was, but I grabbed one of the towables, but it didn't have a figure.
Yeah.
And my dad goes, "Well, why don't you put that one back and get that one there?" Which I believe which was the SMS, because it had Hawk. And he goes, then you'll have two figures to go with the two vehicles. And I tell people, it was like the roof had opened up, light had shined in, there were angels singing. I'm like, oh my God, you're like the smartest man in the world. I would have had two vehicles and only one figure, but my dad's so smart was like, why? So asking for one figure turned into getting two vehicles with two figures. And I mean it wholeheartedly. That was it.
Yeah.
Yes, I had other toys. I had Motu. I didn't even know it was called Motu. It was called He-Man, right?
Yeah.
I had Thundercats. I had some Transformers.
Or
A few,
how
some
about
masks.
that?
Yeah, like you got Optimus Prime there.
Oh, and look, Voltron.
Oh, so I
Oh,
never watched Voltron.
the first anime. I mean, pretty much.
So what's I've talked about this too, that I feel like I am gypped because Voltron was not on, or at least it wasn't on in a time that I was able to watch it. So I never knew anything about Voltron.
I never
And
missed it.
people are so excited for it.
Yeah.
I feel like, and I have no connection to it. I'm not. I don't care if I ever have a Voltron. And I feel like I'm so gypped by not
Such a
seeing
great
it as a
toy.
kid. Because I remember when I finally saw Voltron, I was just thought like, oh, this is just that ripoff of the Power Rangers. That's how long. And I had seen Voltron before, but Power Rangers were, my teenage years, and I really didn't watch them, but I just kind of thought they were the ripoff. Kind of like how, guy Mr. Wonderful actually thought that Star Wars was a ripoff of Spaceballs.
Yes.
No shit. That's how young he is.
Yeah.
Yes, the nerd alert. It was like, I swear, like I still think of like I can picture exactly they're actually tearing them all down. July 1st is the last day of this mall where we were at. I can remember where we walked in, how the toy aisle was set up.
Mhm.
Um, it is odd that I can remember. I can't remember what I did yesterday.
Yeah, I can't
But
tell
I
you a
can remember,
birthday, but I
yeah,
can tell you that. Yeah.
I can remember seeing, G.I. Joe, the commercial for the first time, what I was playing with, how I was sitting, turning. The fact that my dad was there, because my dad worked midnights at Dodge Truck. So he
Yeah.
wasn't even there that often. He was always gone. And the fact that he was there,
Yeah.
and then going to Sears and finding that, and we didn't have a lot of money. I know people might think
Nope.
that's crazy. We didn't have a lot of money,
Nope.
even though I was very spoiled. I think my dad and my mom always wanted to make sure that we had stuff because they
Yep.
didn't think that it was fair that we didn't have stuff,
Yep.
just because they didn't have a lot of money.
Yep.
Uh,
Same thing.
Especially, again, if you get the aircraft carrier for Christmas and 8 shipwrecks for sailors, because your dad was a sailor and thought, well, you need sailors on your boat.
I was told to choose between the aircraft carrier or the Defiant for Christmas. You see what I picked?
Okay, so that is your childhood Defiant.
Yes, it is.
See, and so you talk about how you can't get rid of a lot of that stuff because of your mom,
Yeah.
and that I am the exact same way when
Yeah.
it comes to um when it comes to G.I. Joe. My mom died when I was 13, and G.I. Joe was what I played with.
Yeah.
And I can remember her coming home from Kmart and saying, I saw these two G.I. Joes. I don't think you have them, and would give them to
Yep.
me, right?
Damn snow
And
job. I couldn't find. She looked for snow job because we lived in the north with the snow. Never could find snow job.
so so the nerd alert says 8 shipwrecks. I'm still laughing from that story when you first told it. So I know you're getting tired, but since you're JoeFest, everyone seems to. So my story is, for Christmas I got the flag. But if
Yeah.
you remember, if you had 2 G.I. Joe figures for Christmas or your birthday, if they put them together, they made like a rectangle and they had tape. But you knew they were Star Wars figures or G.I. Joe
Yeah.
figures, whatever, right? And I remember Christmas morning, I'm going through all my stuff. I open up 2 figures, and they're 2 shipwrecks. Now I already have shipwreck, and I don't even like him. So now
No,
I have 3
I'm
ship.
not a fan either.
Now I have 3 shipwrecks. Okay, whatever. I'm a kid. I open up the next set. 2 more shipwrecks, and I have 4 brand new ones, and again, I still have one. I open up another 2 more shipwrecks.
I'd be like, you got the receipt.
Yeah. I open up another pack, and so now I have 8 shipwrecks that I've opened. And I look up, and if looks could kill, the look that my mom had looking at my dad, because she thought that I had figured it out.
Yeah.
So then my dad kind of disappeared. We opened up a few more, and then my mom was like, "Hey, why don't you go downstairs?" And I go downstairs, and there's the aircraft carrier in the box.
Yeah.
But he was supposed to give those to me afterwards. And he was a sailor, so for him, you had to have sailors for
Sure.
your aircraft carrier. My mom figured, and I just remember looking up like, "Thank you," and I was like, I was what, 9,
What the hell am I
maybe?
going to do with these?
Yeah. And my mom was just like the stare that she was, and I didn't understand why she had such a hard stare at my dad. But if looks could kill, um, he would have been the one that was long gone.
Yeah.
But everyone, again, it comes up on every stream, and I'd be like, I don't know if you guys know, but I have my channel. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh no, please tell us the story.
Yeah.
But yeah, very that's my story. I figured you're JoeFest, you should know. And I think that's awesome. Like that's your childhood Defiant. So
Yeah.
it made so much more because you have stories of playing with it.
My dad actually built little ramps so the wheels don't put the pressure on them where they
Okay.
snap. So they're up on like wood stilts, the whole complex. It's
Yeah,
perfect.
yeah, that's like I said, that is one day my holy grail.
Yeah,
Uh,
it was
again,
spectacular. It really was. Just the amount they could never do nothing like that now.
no, no. When people
No.
talked about doing a HasLab 1/18 scale aircraft carrier, you know,
Yeah, okay.
yeah. Well, and I remember I was watching the Full Force, and the co-host Pat, he said, "Here's the problem if they decided to do that. You have to make it bigger than the original. You can't
Yeah,
go, so it has to be at least 8 feet long
yeah.
because it's 7.5 feet long. But I tell people, I go, it's not just 7.5 feet long. It's like 3 feet wide and 3 feet high.
It needs to be like 3 times bigger.
Exactly. The I wanted to buy five. I didn't. I bought one, but I wanted five. I wanted all five of the Sky Striker HasLabs because I just wanted to close the wings on the flag. I have now five different five different Sky Strikers, all different ones. The HasLab is the only one with the wings that close. But if you put them on there, as big as that thing is, you can't fit that many F-14s on it, especially with the wings open. And that is the only way that when the wheels are open, the wings are open. And
Yeah.
I wanted all five just so I could see what it looks like. But I'm like, yeah, I don't have that much money. I don't have
You
over
don't need to eat.
$1,000 to buy on Sky Strikers. Why don't they have a whole bunch? Yeah, as Rachel says, your dad understood the concept of army building before it was cool. That is the only figure that I ever had army built either, believe it or not. No
Yeah.
Cobras, no Cobra officers,
No.
no no Vipers. But
No.
damn it, I was army building shipwrecks.
I never got a Cobra Trooper until I was an adult. We never found that figure. Never.
I ended up with a few over, but I mean I had the originals obviously. And I had all. I believe I had all straight arms at one time, and the only
Yeah.
straight arm figure that I have left is Scarlet, my original Scarlet. So eventually they got replaced
Oh,
with
no.
what?
Those are the important ones.
No, I mean eventually they broke as a kid, and my mom and dad
Oh,
replaced them. No, believe it or not, I actually got I had a straight arm Snake Eyes, and I sold it because I don't like the straight arms.
I love them.
And, and,
Every
and
Joe Fest, I buy one just to have it.
see,
Just,
I don't like them, and
yeah,
I would get rid of the Scarlet and get a swivel arm if it wasn't my original childhood one.
yeah,
Now my
yeah.
Stalker, that's swivel arm also. That's my original one. So maybe I didn't have him as I might not have had him. I had to have him because he was from Detroit. So I was getting one from Detroit because I'm from
Yeah.
here. But it's my original because my grandmother's dog chewed on the foot a little bit. So every time I look at it and I see the chewed foot, I think of my grandmother's dog, and I'm like, this is way better than a minty one because
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I know I played with this somewhere. There's some DNA of my grandmother's dog Penny.
I, you know, I don't. I never. I'm not a mint on card. I'm not a mint.
No, yeah,
I get what I can afford.
I I want to I want to play with the stuff.
Yeah,
I love what Mythic Legions does with the card that can slide out because I keep
yeah,
all my boxes. And I wish other companies that aren't selling, in box stores would do that. I think it's great that that's what Mattel is doing with their Mattel Creations now,
yeah.
that they have the slide out card because you want that look, but I don't. I wish they would have done it with that Mickey Mouse Cobra Commander with the in the HasLab because it's a lot of money that I really wish I could slide it back into the box rather than just ripping the card off. But oh well, he's out of the package.
I mean, I saw somebody comment in a group one day, and they're like, because I've been buying two of every classified. Like, I got to have one in the box and one open. I just stopped that a month ago. I'm like, you just sort of pile. I have no room for them. You know, where am I putting them?
I looked at it as I can just box them back up.
Yeah, I need to. That's
Yeah, I mean, I keep the boxes. I can just box them back up. I don't need to buy two of each. I could
but
afford to buy two of each either, but
but I don't even care about these boxes as much as I did the original artwork on 3 3/4. You know, there was more art
yeah.
to it. You know, so
Oh, it's so much better.
yeah, and they can't do that just because of the sheer size of it. I get it, but
But the artwork they had going was awesome.
yeah,
The plastic free packaging, the
yeah,
artwork was awesome.
yeah.
Like they were doing was awesome. I love that. Um, but I know you need to go. It is after 11 o'clock. I
Yeah,
told you it's easy to go.
it is. It's easy. It is.
We're
It's
here at almost 3 hours, and we had never talked before, so it's hard to tell. Lenny wanted to give, and he's like, I need like an hour, and we did a pre-recorded one. We recorded for 2.5 hours. We talked for 5 straight hours, and
is
he
he a
was
cool dude? I'd love to meet him.
he
I
is
really
the
would.
nicest guy in the world.
Yeah.
Um, he's so nice, and he's very shy.
Is he?
We talked for an hour before we went live, and then we talked for an hour and a half after. Um, and we talked for, and he's like, I'm so glad that we talked because I was real nervous and didn't know. But like once we started talking, it was like we
Yeah.
knew each other, and he felt comfortable because I I wasn't there to ask about product. This
Yeah.
was the talk
Yeah.
to get to know him. Just same with like getting to know you.
Yeah.
Um, so it was just a comfortable, discussion that we were having, and that's why I think these things go so. 3 hours is really easy, and frankly, I don't mind because that means I'm getting done before 1 o'clock in the morning. Uh, 'Cause
Yeah.
I don't sleep enough as it is.
Yeah.
A matter of fact, I can't believe that 3 Star Draw hasn't asked me yet if I'm doing a Punk's Pit for the members only tomorrow. 'Cause I said I might, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to do it. I want to do one, but I'm like, it's a lot of commitment. And Firefly, the Mezco Firefly is supposed to come, so I'm
Oh,
excited
cool.
about that.
Cool. Yeah. That is cool looking.
um, they see like I was waiting. It's also my son's prom. I don't think I have to pick him up or anything, so it doesn't really matter.
Oh,
He'll be gone before we go live, but he doesn't drive, so either me or his mom have to pick him up, and I think she said it's fine that she will, but I don't know. We'll
there you
see.
go.
But I want to say thank you. Is there anything else that you want to add before trying to get anyone to last
Yeah.
minute to decide to come?
Yeah. Well, hopefully some people might understand me more now. So
I hope so. That's what the whole point of any of these are, and I want to get people. This whole show is meant to get people that have supported me, and you have definitely supported me, um, and a lot of other people you've supported. But people that have supported what I'm doing, and I want to get a chance to let everyone get to know all the people in the fellowship,
mhm.
as uh, Pop Blender is calling it, rather than community fellowship, and I kind of like that, and I think I'm going to run with that from now on. But
Yep.
again, it's just cool because it humanizes people rather than it's a promoter. Well, he's not just a promoter; he's a person, and it's nice to get to know exactly who he is. So, but I'm going to get out of here. Ed, if you can stick around
Sure.
after, I
Sure.
want to talk to you quickly. I will let you go to sleep soon, though. But everyone, thank you very much. Again, I don't know if I'm going to do a members only stream tomorrow. If not, you know where to find me. That is Monday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Everyone have a wonderful night. I should probably get my ending. Ed, once again, thank you so much. It's great to get to know you, and I can't wait to meet you
Yeah.
in
Likewise. Yeah.
in just over a month. So
Yeah. I'll hang out for sure. Show you around a little bit.
yes, we will. Everyone, take care. Have a wonderful night.